What a difference 24 or 48 hours makes. People are continuing to criticize the Iranian deal. We even have a question for you on my Facebook site where we're taking a look at this and saying, what's your reaction? We'll share that with you coming up, probably at KIDOtalkradio.com. We start today with the weekend, getting ready for the weekend, of course. Are you optimistic now that the war is over? Of course, now people are saying that the war is not over. And you have to take a look at the brilliance of President Trump and whether or not President Trump knows something the rest of us don't. Remember, this was a guy who was not considered a serious presidential candidate. This was a guy that the Republicans didn't take seriously. This was a person that Hillary Clinton didn't take seriously. A lot of people thought he was going to lose in 2016, but he did not. And then did an incredible job until COVID hit. Did his very best to get through COVID. Then we had the 2020 election. We had the persecution, the prosecutions, and now we have the president creating a deal by bringing the Iranians to the table. Remember, we have not talked to the Iranians in over 50 years. And yet you have people criticizing the deal, and not to carry water for anybody, but the idea that here is an opportunity. We'll see if the president can pull it off. A recent AP NORC poll shows that Americans disapprove of President Trump's handling of the war. Now, wait a minute. Wasn't this a same approval rating that said they disapproved of the war altogether? So the president gets us out of this war, and now they disapprove of that. The survey also indicates the approval of Trump's actions on Iran aligns with his overall job approval of just 37%. While some Republicans are unhappy with the outcome of the recent agreement with Iran, others believe military action against Iran has been necessary. Additionally, about one-third of U.S. adults approve of Trump's approach to Israel and the economy, with varying options among Republicans on those issues. You know, it's so funny because you contrast that with the treatment of Barack Obama and his wonderful presidential library. And everybody's talking about how he changed the world. If you were alive during Barack Obama, did he change the world? Well, maybe if you were a conservative group, you got taxed. He made Bill Clinton seem like a moderate. But again, the fawning, the everything else, the adoration, all these things going on. At 580 KIDO, the idea that Barack Obama was the greatest ever. And now that his presidential library is officially open today, once again, the great Obama. But without Obama, there would be no Trump.
But that wasn't even a thing when he was.
But look, here's the thing. I get that you might get it, but I'm really focused on this. When you say that President Obama is one of the most divisive presidents in history, that's something that you guys can never back up. You never can bring up any substance. It's a talking point that you guys always say. So to Abby's point, what specifically are you referring to when you say he's one of the most divisive presidents in history?
He did not invite Milli Vanilli to the library party today, or Vanilla Ice, or CNC Music Factory. That's a difference from the American 250.
Right. That didn't have that on my bingo card. For sure.
That is very true. Next for us, a new book reveals how the president...
Yeah, you know, and you go back to the Obama era, and it was always, Obama was very subtle. Remember, cling, and Sean Hannity plays this clip, cling to your guns and your religion. Operation Fast and Furious. The Obama scandals where people were targeted. All of a sudden, the Tea Party. Look, I love the Tea Party. But the Tea Party was treated with division and called all sorts of names. If it was all kumbaya, peace, love, and understanding, you would not have had the rise of Trumpism. You would not have had the rise of the Tea Party. You would not have had the Republicans taking over Congress. And if Mitt Romney had been Mitt Romney, he would have won. But again, you have the great rewriting of history. Barack Obama was this. By the way, with all due respect, not to sound like an old man, but I was working during the Obama administration. We had health care. We had DACA. We had all these terrible issues that divided the country. We had the legalization of the weed, where for the first time ever, the federal government said it's not going to enforce the law. You know, we broke that story for you first here at 580 KIDO yesterday, where you have people that the Supreme Court said that you can still have a weapon as long as you're a good weed smoker. Now, the problem is, and the Supreme Court didn't really address this, but it's against federal law. And any state that continues to legalize weed, it is against federal law. I really don't know how the weed banks in Ontario survive because there is no banking. I don't know how those people get checks and stuff because you can't. I don't believe unless it's 1099, you can't file taxes if you're not recognized by the federal government, and none of those dispensaries are, at least by the banking system. But that was the president deciding to do his own thing. He was against gay marriage before he was for gay marriage. You could relitigate. And the guy, the Democratic lawmaker, young kid, which they're all young. At our age, everybody's younger. However, a very smart move. You always go for a specific. And I would have said, well, look, you go back to the issues that were decided, the vilification of people that disagreed with him, and the adoring press. Like I said, if Obama was so great, Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden would have won. People were tired of Obama. They were tired of the cult of personality. They were tired of, hope. There was no hope. Remember, Obama was supposed to shatter racism, and under his regime, you had more divisiveness. And what was it, Ferguson? You can't blame that on Obama. Well, you can blame things on Trump. But it's fascinating to see and to hear the great fawning over Barack Obama. And like I said, you compare that with the treatment that President Trump is getting, which is wild.
Who is just saying, I anoint people.
Well, let me let Lydia respond to that, because I hear you saying, first of all, you're accusing Obama of personally doing something that
his administration. His administration.
Well, we know that what you're talking about at the IRS was the responsibility of individuals within the IRS who were held responsible for that. That had nothing to do with Obama. Right. And you've never nobody has provided proof that came from the White House or from the president's office. The second thing that you mentioned, which is basically abortion policy, I take it that is your view of how that policy should operate in this country. But you have to understand that another half of the country believes the opposite of what you believe. Right. So when you talk about divisiveness, Barack Obama was smeared as not being a legitimate president because Trump was lying that he was not a native born.
It's funny. And they come across this way, but you can hear the emotionalism in Abby Phillips' voice. By the way, Kevin Miller, 580-KIDO. Phone number is 580-KIDO. Don't forget to caller 10. You're going to win tickets to the Boise Music Festival. We had our last logistical meeting going over everything. This stage is going to be bigger than ever. The Marshmallow is going to be big. Sean Paul is putting on like a record performance. Why not go for free? So there are two ways to go for free. Number one, you can listen to Abby Phillip. We hope you listen anyway. Number two, you can take the Kevin Miller Challenge. Or number three, you could be caller number 10. I like the Kevin Miller Challenge. It's very simple. If you missed it yesterday, you call in, you go on the air, we have a little conversation. And if you are passionate enough to say 580-KIDO a certain number of times, then you win. Very simple. You don't have to compete against 20,000 people. So you can hear the passion in her voice because Obama was deeply personal to Abby and to a generation of folks, whether they were white, black, indifferent. This was the guy that was supposed to bring people together. I would argue he didn't bring anybody together. I would argue that Barack Obama and his crew and everybody else was very good at being divisive. That if you were against them, then you were targeted. And I love how, as I brought up, the IRS prosecuting people, well, he had nothing to do with it. Oh, okay. It was just people, and it was just a matter of circumstance that George Bush gets out of office and Barack Obama comes in, and all of a sudden, all these conservatives are being prosecuted. Let's go back to the Civil Rights Division, where he gutted that, and black on white crime was not considered a crime. We know that because whistleblowers quit that administration and went public with it. That's not divisive. Racial crime only goes one way. But I digress. It's funny to see this. And look, we are starting early. We're not really going to talk about the Australians and the Americans today, at 1 o'clock in Seattle for the World Cup. So Abby will have to wake us up.
Born American citizen. And then he welcomed that same man into the White House.
Right.
Their wives sat down and had tea. So what else?
I think Obama is incredibly
question.
I think he's incredibly
It's a legitimate question. What else? Why is Obama considered by a lot of conservatives, and maybe you're one of them, to be so incredibly divisive? Is it because he told people he was black?
Right.
No, no. I think he's incredibly classy. He's a very eloquent speaker. I think there's a lot of things to credit him for.
Lydia,
I'm
how
saying his
is he
policies. You know, and I will credit him for this as well. He said that he thinks America is great today. I think he said the U.S. is an undeniable force for good in the world. And I was glad to hear him say that, because when he was in office, he would go on these sort of tours essentially apologizing for America. And I look at the Democratic Party today, 36% of whom are not proud.
Last year, Donald Trump went to the Middle East, and he said that America's past policies of regime change in that region had been a failure.
Right.
And that it was that we were trying to basically overtake these great societies. He was literally, what you guys accuse Obama of doing, Trump went to the Middle East and said that we've been trying to change your societies and we have failed, and we've been trying to export our way of doing things on you. He said that last year.
Right.
Again, that's the challenge of being incredibly gifted, incredibly young, like Lydia Moynihan. You can't come back. Abby's probably 10, 15 years older, and you're saying, hey, I understand what you're talking about, but Abby, I lived it. Abby, I was a professional. Abby, if Barack Obama was so great, so wonderful, why did he go to the Middle East and bow in front of the Saudi people? Why did he talk about, and she's right, he did talk about America's decline. And you had a guy that was incredibly charismatic, great cult of personality. David Axelrod worked for him, but he wasn't the great uniter. In fact, everything that Barack Obama has done has been undone by President Trump. And you talk about what has the guy done since he's left office? Has he helped Democrats? No, he's made a lot of money with Netflix. Was he gifted? Was he talented? Was he from Chicago? Yes. But please don't tell us he was the greatest ever. It shows you, and the reason why I bring this up, not to, relive the old days, but how different the media treats Republicans, how different the media treats people, even moderates like George Bush, like others. At 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Something to think about as we move along. Don't forget your chance to win tickets to the Boise Music Festival. 2 ways to do that. Number 1. Number 2, play the Kevin Miller game, 580-KIDO game, or be caller 10 when we give you the cue to call. Great to see our friend David Bozell on with Lars Larson, 2 great Americans. We'll have to share that comments with you as we start the day on the right side. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Team Mazda. We roll on. Kevin Miller, 580-KIDO.
These folks aren't Americans too. They are America. They are the beating heart of this country. They are us and we are them. And to the simple truth, to refuse to respect the contributions and experiences of people who aren't exactly like us, y'all, puts us all at risk. Failing to see the humanity in all people puts us all on a slippery slope. Immigrants proving what it truly means to...
There we have it. Michelle Obama saying illegals are America. Isn't that wonderful? By the way, technology is a wonderful tool when we're talking about reliving the Obama years.
People aren't looking for perpetual anger and division. They are looking for fairness and common sense.
So to all the young people out there, as well as those of you who consider yourselves young at heart, I want you to stay angry. I want you to stay frustrated.
There we have it. Hopefully not constipated. Good morning, Kevin Miller with you, 580 KIDO. What's that, Sweet William? We're supposed to go over the World Cup action today. Well, I don't want to go over the World Cup action today. Oh, all right. Well, USA, Australia today at 1, Scotland, Morocco today at 4. Mexico beat South Korea. Does anybody really care? 1-0. It's funny how everybody's trying to, all of a sudden become soccer aficionados. Now, if you like World Cup, great, but it's funny. It would be like me trying to hit you guys with something. Come on. Let's be legit. Speaking of legit, let's go to Al in Ontario, 580 KIDO.
Good morning. Hey, thank you a lot, Pro Mark, yesterday. He helped me out because it was George Foreman, and that must have been quite an experience for him to be in Zaire for Rumble in the Jungle. But, the most important thing that should really come from that is exactly the opposite of what Obama and those nutcase Marxists do, okay? And that is to unite the country, okay, and really listen to what Muhammad Ali said. And his exact words were, I'm glad my granddaddy got on the boat. Okay, now what does that mean? Or he says, thank God my granddaddy got on the boat. Well, he's saying thank God for slavery. And really, when you think about it and you say to yourself, look at the situation of black people today in the United States versus the situation of black people in Africa. Look, it's unbelievable what a difference there is there. And if you look back at the old days, African folks would die at the age of 25 because of all the diseases that were there, right? But when West, that's why the West would never go over to Africa. White people didn't go over there. You never saw, Rome go down, into sub-Saharan Africa because you die because of all of the diseases, right? And when Western medicine came there, all of a sudden, wow, the Africans there, their lives started to become extended. They lived more than 25 years old, right? So there's so many things that are in the benefit of black folks being part of Western civilization, being part of Western society. But there's still the very basic aspect of Western society. You have to compete, right? And that's it. And when, you're constantly talking about, it's slavery, even though free black people in the South actually own slaves. And so it's not this white-black divide. And this is what he says, stay angry. Well, you shouldn't be angry because when that happens, what happens? To our nation. Well, look at Pacific Southwest Airlines Flight 1771, going from Los Angeles to San Francisco on December the 7th, 1987. Now, I just happened to live in Los Angeles area during that period of time, and I used to go because I had a friend whose family was in San Francisco, and I would go there. Well, this black gentleman, he got caught stealing, and then he said they fired him, and he said he was being discriminated against, but he still had his badge. So he went on that flight where his boss was, who fired him. 43 white people on there. They go way up, and he just has the airplane crash right into the ground and killed all of them. Okay, so when you see this evil white nation, right? When they build this whole concept of this white nation that's oppressing everybody, this is what you get. You also get like Federal Express Flight 705, and Federal Express Flight 705 was kind of the same thing. Where this gentleman, his name was Auburn Calloway, and he was in the Navy, right? He was a naval pilot. Now, that's a big deal. Wow. You become a pilot, you become a naval pilot. Then he got out of the Navy and joined, Federal Express, and he was a pilot there. But then he got caught, I guess, lying about his hours or something, and he was on this Federal Express jet full of equipment and 3 other white guys. Well, he brought hammers with him on the plane and started. He wanted to crash the plane, commit suicide. And, that way he'd get insurance for his family. And he started smashing these white guys who were flying the airplane, smashing them in the head, trying to kill them, right? And it's only by the grace of God. You gotta watch that documentary. It was only by the grace of God that these pilots were able to somehow subdue him after he had been beating him in the head with hammers to try and crash this federally mass. Can you imagine that, a DC-10? And it's diving towards the ground, and there's this crazy guy who, feels that everything is against him because we have this evil white society, and trying to beat these guys in the head with a hammer, and they were somehow able to subdue him and, land the plane again. It's an unbelievable story, Federal Express Flight 705. So this is what happens when we look at our society and we say, well, wow, what's going on with the Gerald Ford? I mean, how is it that we get this fire in the laundry room? How is it that we get, now all the toilets are overflowing? How is it that this isn't working? Look, if you hate America, and you think that this war or something is not right, you get this type of a situation where people hate the country and they're very easily influenced because there's no real philosophical grounding that they got in school where they understand that, no, this is the greatest philosophical experiment that's ever existed on Earth.
Yeah, but people aren't taught that. People are taught that if you believe that, you're stupid. People are taught that the more enlightened people question for some people, like CNN running this series called The Land, for some people, they were exploited because of America. For some people, and yes, people need to hear about that. But are we going to sit there and, focus in on the negative? I got into one of the many fights I got into. Let me finish. I got into many fights in Pittsburgh. And the one thing I learned about being in Pittsburgh, being fired by KDK, CBS Radio, was it doesn't matter if you're right. It doesn't matter if you're principled. You're getting in the way of business. And I can remember there was a civil rights guy on, and all he did was rip it on white people for an hour. And they brought me in afterwards, and I said, well, what about a thank you? What about a thank you for black and white people coming together, looking past their racial differences and liberating folks? What about the Jewish people that went down to the civil rights movement and were beaten and killed in Montgomery, Alabama, in Birmingham, Alabama? What about the people that continue to fight, continue to look past the divisiveness? How about a thank you? So we had somebody that was an employee that came in and started screaming at me, calling me every name in the book, and I still had to work with this person. And then so I did the preemptive HR thing on that, because if it had been the other way around, black, female, white guy, I would have been out. There is a great undercurrent of favoritism that if you, and this is where I guess I'm backing Al, where if you are of a certain persuasion, if you're female, if you're this, that, and the other, and someone innocently makes a mistake, and I'm not saying that misogyny in the workplace doesn't go on or racism in the workplace doesn't go on. It shouldn't be tolerated at any level. But, if the female says something bad to the male, suck it up, guy. If it's the other way around, it's a fireable offense. So back to the point of you have people saying, well, no, the end thing, if you are truly an intellectual, is to be a person that looks at America critically. Well, Thomas Jefferson owned slaves, and what he did was horrific. Never mind that he wrote this Declaration of Independence and everything else. That should be minimized.
Well, here's the thing, Kevin. It has nothing to do with women or black, white, male, female. You have to understand, okay, those are all proxies for what those are proxy wars for what they really want to gain, and that's Marxist socialism and destroy our constitutional republic. Remember, that's all critical theory. Okay, so the whole concept here, you see, and this is why I say when I'm talking about male-female differences, really what I'm talking about is Carl Jung, okay? anima and animus, okay? Understanding what goes on with the male-female roles and characters. You know, when we're looking critically at slavery and how things, you know, have worked throughout history, you know, we know that slavery has everybody has been their relative.
Well, and Al, thank you for the call. By the way, there are people in this country that are slaves, human trafficking. There are people around the world that are still slaves. And to America's credit, we don't want to ever forget slavery in this country and what it cost to liberate the nation, or the fact that people are discriminated against because of race, or continue to be, or reverse racism. It goes a lot of ways, and we try to call it as best that we can. We're human, but we love to be here with you every morning. A little heady, if you will, a little heady topic today on a Friday. We go to the vice president before we go to the news. Why not have some good news, Mr. Vice President? What say you?
$100 billion reconstruction fund that would be paid for by Gulf states to Iran, right? What specifically does Iran have to do to get that money?
Well, first of all, that's fundamentally between the Gulf states and Iran. What we have said is, again, that if the Iranians are behaving like a normal country, and if they make their country investable, then the Gulf Arab states are going to may decide to invest in that country, invest in their infrastructure, invest in their incredible resources. But I think it's important, not a single dime of that money comes from the United States. And in order for Iran to get that benefit, they have to show the Gulf Arab states that they're behaving like a normal country. Again, the whole concept of this deal is that if Iran acts like a normal country, their economic relationship, both with the region but the world, is going to be totally transformed. The President of the United States doesn't want just a deal on the nuclear as much as that's a win for the American people. Yeah. He wants to see a transformed Middle East, which is what this deal will do so long as the Iranians comply. And if they don't, they won't get any of the benefits.
Mr. Vice President, you're speaking to the American people right now. I want to understand this in the simplest terms. What does Iran need to do before they can be rewarded? What do they have to do to get that money? Do they have to give up their enriched uranium?
Well, we're going to stagger it, right? So giving up the enriched stockpile of uranium, that's the thing that we have focused the most on. They will get benefits for doing that. The cessation of funding of terrorist organization, they will get benefits from that. Making their country investable, they will get benefits from that. So what this is set up as they perform their end of the bargain, then more and more benefits flow to them. If they do less, then less, potentially nothing flows to them, and that's the way that we've set it up. So we're going to figure out some of the details in these technical negotiations, but the basic principle is Iran behaves like a normal country.
Yeah, that's the question. Let's get back to that in a minute. Kevin Miller in the morning. Don't forget, Boise Music Festival tickets can be yours by listening to me. Also, this weekend, we are on the road. That's right, on the road to Boise Music Festival, on the road to BMF. We're going to be at Walmart's in Boise and Walmart's in Meridian Saturday and Sunday. We look forward to giving you an opportunity to win those tickets. We'll tell you when, where, and how next. Kevin Miller, 580 KIDO Traffic, Walmart, and for so many others to get us out on the road. We are going to be in Boise. That's right, Kevin Miller in Boise, Saturday, 11 to 1 at the Walmart. So stop by, say hello, and you'll win tickets to the Boise Music Festival. Not to be outdone, we are going to Meridian. We will be there next to Roaring Springs, the Walmart there, 3 to 5. Would love to see you there. Mighty Walmart 3093 will be there till 5 on Saturday. Sunday, 11 to 1, we will be at the 10-mile Walmart. Some would say my home Walmart, very close to where I live in Star, Idaho. Of course, I was just at the Garrity Walmart yesterday, hanging out. Love that one. Our final Walmart will be on Fairview in Meridian, right by the Village, 3 to 5, left side of the grocery entrance. And we look forward to partnering with our friends at Walmart, Coca-Cola, and you to win Boise Music Festival tickets. Let's go to Dylan now, who joins us now at 580 KIDO. Good morning, Dylan.
Well, Kevin, good morning as always. My best part of the day. I'm a little jealous of Lejo there. He's got a speedy mouth, that kid, on the old competition.
Well, he wrote a check that he couldn't pay for there. He said he would do 10, and he only did 8. For people that aren't familiar, Lee Joe took the Kevin Miller challenge. How many times could you say 580 KIDO in 10 seconds to win tickets to the music festival? Just kind of a fun way to break up the monotony of giving people tickets.
Well, I think because you felt bad for Lee Joe, he still got the tickets. Lee Joe, good dude. Love to see him get out of the house, maybe go see him at the festival. So, I'd also say maybe it's not about how many times you say it. Maybe it's how you say it. So, here we are.
Oh, you're ready to go.
I've been practicing, Kevin. I mean, you don't do anything unless you try to do it right. So let's see if I can screw this up here.
So, how many are you thinking that you can do here, buddy?
I'm going for quality, not quantity, my friend. Let's go for 7.
So you're going to sell it. So you're going to really sell is what you're going to say.
I've been in the business for 30 years, my friend, and I've been mostly good at it with a lot of plane crashes. We'll see if I can keep the rudders going.
Okay, here we go in 3, 2, 1, go.
580 KIDO, 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 580. Did I get it?
Well, I think I loved the enthusiasm. You know what's funny? You ever ask for feedback and then you don't want it? Do you really want feedback?
You do. It's just never the feedback that you thought you wanted.
Yes. So I think you did an excellent job. Now, I don't think that I could do any better, but this is how I would have played it. Are you ready?
Hit me.
Okay. 580 KIDO. 580 KIDO. Now my voice is going 580 Yeah, I could only do it 2.5 times. So
don't snap that one, Bo. Don't do it, buddy. You got to do that one maybe off air. Do a little more roll on it.
I suppose. Now you're giving me feedback. So congratulations. How many tickets? 4 tickets? Family 4-pack?
I got 4 people that are close in the family that could go. The other one's out fighting fire every day.
Well, you talk to Bo and negotiate what you're getting. Bo determines all things tickets, but I appreciate it. Anything else that you'd like to share with us, sir?
I would. This is kind of a breaking thing, Kevin. My daughter's been a wildland firefighter for 3 years. Interesting thing. She works for the feds now, and they're heading out on a fire, and they come to her and they said, hey, we're going to need you to cover your own hotel and your food, and we'll get you back. She's 20 years old, just building her credit, and she's like, I got to increase the limit on my credit card. Now the federal government is having wildland firefighters put their own lodging and food on credit cards and doing a rebate system. So that's a little interesting. I'm wondering how that one's going to work out.
Well, we had to give all the money to the Iranians, apparently.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, we gotta get that straight open here.
Boy, what's that like when the balloon goes up for her? Got to fire, got to go.
Those people are. Some of them, I think, need a psych eval. They're fire bugs. They love it. They just live. Unfortunately, breathe the fire. It's just adrenaline, and you got to be prepared. And for the ladies in the wildland stuff, like she wants to be a hot shot. She wants to be a smoke jumper. She wants to go all the way. It's a little G.I. Jane, there is a lot of camaraderie, but you've got to be able to do your 9 pull-ups. You got to be tough. It's a hard business, man.
Dude, that sounds great until you're getting up in that plane and jumping into the smoke.
I'm like, no, I'm not going to tell my daughter what to do as it relates to all things other than the fact that she could be in media, and that doesn't let's just say a lot of negative things there. But yeah, man, those are some of the most hardworking, dedicated people out there, like most all servants.
Yeah. Our friend Dylan from the Great Idaho Show, thegreatidahoshow.com. Now, you made an announcement yesterday. Are you going in a different direction now?
No, I unfortunately got hooked on Idaho politics, and Idaho politics is just disappointing. But at the same time, I recognize there's a lot of wonderful people, a lot of wonderful things happening in Idaho politics. Politics is our future, whether we like it or not. I got stuck on the negative, Kevin, and there's two sides to that battle, and sticking to the positive is where it's at. So got out of my zone, going to get into season 3 and get back to the positive of Idaho, the heart of Idaho, the good people, the good eats, the good views, the good experiences. And there's still a little politics. Tom Munns and I are going to have a weekly conversation called Crossroads. And whether you like Tom and I or not, it's going to be a conversation probably about Idaho politics.
There we have it. We appreciate you and Tom. It'll be interesting to see who will get the last word on that one.
Well, Kevin, I get all my first words from you on 580 KIDO, buddy. You are the source. I appreciate you, man.
We appreciate you, old friend. Take care, Dylan.
Take care.
Dylan Stocker from the Great Idaho Show, greatidahoshow.com. Kevin Miller on your home for Hannity, 580 KIDO. KIDO, you know, the funny thing about this is that we are on the road this weekend, looking forward to being out on the weekend. It's been a while, and I do want to thank our partners at Walmart because, you know, being a partner with the Boise Music Festival is a very, very big deal. You know, when you have the international star Marshmello, when you have Sean Paul, when you have Everclear, when you have the Julia lady, these are big-time talents, and I want to thank everyone that continues to volunteer, everyone that continues to show up, our partners with MAV Security, the sponsors that bring it. As much as Kevin Miller would like to say, hey, it's Kevin Miller, no, it's the people that have worked with our folks locally and that have said, look, we want to put this on, the food vendors, the carnival. It's, look, arguably the biggest day in the state of Idaho. Why not go for free? So what we're going to do here is caller 10 at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Yes, we gave Dylan tickets, but we're almost a week away, almost less than a week away. A week from Friday, it's, you know, the eve of the music festival. So family 4-pack for yours, caller 10 right now. And like I said, we are on the road to Boise Music Festival. Saturday, Walmart, 11 to 1 in Boise, West Overland Road. Mighty Store, 2508. Saturday, that's right, double sessions on Saturday. Walmart, 3093, otherwise known as the West Overland, next to Roaring Springs, 3 to 5. And they said, Kevin Miller, we're going to have a staff with you. I said, Kevin Miller needs no staff. Kevin Miller will be there, and it will just be Kevin Miller. Now, make sure you come up and say, hello, Kevin Miller. I'd like to win tickets. And Kevin Miller, if he's not in the facilities, using the restroom, or walking around looking at some of the fine items at Walmart, will be there for you. Sunday, that's right, after church, we're going to be 10 Mile Walmart, right next to the new Idaho Fitness Factory, or to the semi-new Idaho Fitness Factory. We've got a few of them there. Sunday, 3 to 5. The last one, Fairview, the original home of Miller's Mission. That's right, the Walmart there. So we look forward to seeing you and being a part of the action that is Boise Music Festival. I'll continue to give you those tickets and times as we go throughout the day. And like I said, we need a crowd. We want people there, and we want you to go for free. Thank you to so many people to make this happen. You know, our partners, again, at Expo Idaho. This free festival, we could not do it without our partners. And it's not like, hey, look at us. It is the community. You know, Hillary Clinton was right about one thing. I don't know if it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village to raise a Boise Music Festival. So again, we will be there and pumped up to see folks. From what I hear, we had our big meeting yesterday, and they said, Kevin Miller, quit being a leaker. And I go, what do you mean by that? You're always leaking what's going on here. I said, okay, but the Sean Paul experience is going to be epic. We want you to be a part of it. Keep it here for your chance to win. 1 down, 3 to go. Kevin Miller, 580 KIDO. Good morning. (580-5436) 580 KIDO. We once again continue on. Last hour we were talking about Barack Obama's legacy. That's right, Barack Obama's legacy that everybody has, genuflected to the great Obama and how wonderful he is, and he's the best ever. And, you think to yourself, you were a taxpayer during the Obama years. I was a taxpayer during the Obama years. Those weren't good times. And, by the way, congratulations to Brent for winning those tickets to the Boise Music Festival. Appreciate that. Appreciate everybody getting ready to see all the great acts. And we're going to be out giving away tickets this weekend. We hope to see you. So don't be stuck at home. Come on out and enjoy the festivities at Walmart, right? We're going to be in Boise because Boise needs the love as well. Not only that, but then back to Meridian, our old home in Meridian, before we relocated the broadcast center to Star, Idaho. So where do we really begin? Nobody likes change. And I don't know. I think there's an advantage to being punched in the face repeatedly. And what I always love in one of the great Kevin Millerisms, there's a few of them. One of them was by the great, you don't know these people, so we'll just say this guy. He was somebody who was a fan in this industry, and he said, Kevin Miller, I coached Limbaugh, I coached Dr. Laura, I coached Beck, and he did. He was very highly thought of until they cut him out of existence. And I can remember the first meeting with this guy. And this guy, if this guy likes you, you're on your way. And I remember what he said to me. He said, Kevin, this is great. Show me what you have when you have nothing. When you have little to no resources. And if you've ever listened to this program, I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of people creating something with limited resources. Yesterday at work, I was wearing my Ducks shirt. And people are going, well, aren't you a Bama guy? I said, I'm a fan of people that create something like Chip Kelly when he was at the Oregon Ducks. And, put them on the national map. And they were a regional power, but really it was Chip Kelly that did that. And then Chip left, and then they had change and da-da-da-da-da. And then the other Kevin Millerisms, there's a lot of axioms with this program. Another one is, again, from a guy who's ran a radio station in Chicago, now really doing well in California, said, Kevin, you have to have the ability to take direction. He's right about that. Before I bore you too much, the final one is everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. And there's an advantage to losing in life. There's an advantage to being humbled. You create empathy for yourself and others. I was, and I want to thank everyone that said, Kevin Miller, I'm so proud that you're losing weight. And God bless you, because in other parts of the country, they would have gone, look at that fatso. And I have a long way to go, but it's taken me 58 years to get here. And as I was doing some more work for the secret project that's not so secret, working with Dr. Lyle and others, I came across a 2017 blog post, which has my pictures of me competing as a competitive bodybuilder. And that was the first time, actually, I have failed at this. At least in Idaho, this will be my fourth attempt, because when I first got here, there's a video on YouTube, Kevin Miller running up Table Rock with what we first called the Miller Makeover. and where I was going to lose weight and, play the Rocky theme and and that lasted for a little while. But that was more of a commercial endeavor. And then in 2017, I actually went to St. Luke's, and as part of Fit One, at the time, St. Luke's and I were getting along. I went to some counseling sessions about weight and losing weight and all that, and I wrote that article, and pretty much that was a partnership, I think, to secure St. Luke's, and that wasn't on the company, that was on me, and then that blew up. And then the one that I think that really had an incredible chance of success would be the one with Kristen Armstrong and Tommy Ahlquist and Poley and Pivot. I will always be grateful for them because they truly, there was no advertising, there was no anything. There was a 2-hour interview with Kristen Armstrong, the multi-talented Olympic gold medalist several times over. There was a meeting with her nutritionist, Poley. Kristen Armstrong with Pivot has really mastered the proactive preventative health care in our area. And her and Joe and the staff of Pivot, great people. And we were working with an excellent, excellent trainer who did it for free. And we were videoing it and documenting it. And then the pandemic happened. And then, they said, hey, you ready to come back? And I said, I really can't come back because of certain medical conditions. And because of the extensive cardiology stuff that we did, I was diagnosed with heart disease, even though I was healthy. The thoroughness of the folks at St. Alphonsus, who I was with at the time, where, they went in and did an angiogram. And, when you sign that thing that you may die because of this, they're covering all their bases. And those folks did an excellent job, but I've had an angiogram. And I've had multiple stress tests. Today, we're going back for another stress test because the machine didn't work, so we're going back. And again, I learned so much by my failures and change. And like I said, at 580 KIDO, I've lost, 121 pounds. We had our initial assessment with Dr. Lyle at Peak Health, Idaho, and it was an excellent experience speaking with Sean and Beverly and Dr. Lyle. And part of this is yes, Dr. Lyle is advertising with the radio station, but the separate project, or maybe it's entwined, is this video series that we're putting together. And my man, Rome, the videos have been very powerful. So much so that when you see them, I'm blown away by it, because it's one thing to say something, as we talked about with Don, the veteran, yesterday, but it's another thing to see it on paper or to see it in big, bold things of just how unhealthy I am. And if you're the same way, you can win, not the day, but you can win 10 minutes by walking or standing. Those little things can build a foundation. And what I'm trying to say in a roundabout, long, blankety-blank way is change. And the testimony of a great leader is that the organization continues after them. You take a look at Doug Armstrong when he left Channel 7. You had Kate, who did a great job, Kate Morris, who was brought up in that Channel 7 system. She's in Phoenix doing wonderful work. And now, whether it's the company or the economy or political direction or economics, Channel 7 is a very different direction. Not that I agree or disagree with it. It's just a very different vibe. And that is change. And as you can tell, when I do review and commentary on the media, I'm not comfortable with the change, but they're continuing to evolve. They're reaching this person and that person and things of that nature. But you have to adapt to change. The Boise Rescue Mission, our beloved Reverend Bill, the beloved pastor, that organization, they're seeking a new person. Now, that will be an incredible challenge. Now, is that foundation great? Yes, it's wonderful. It's amazing. But the true testimony will be who fills that slot. And in my own roundabout way, we go back to Barack Obama. So now we have the Barack Obama Center opening. By the way, happy June 19th, everybody. And I'm looking at this, and, Joe Biden made it an official federal holiday. Why are you working, Kevin Miller? Well, we have floating holidays, so we pick our holidays here. That's what the godless corporation wants to do, so be it. So back to change. If Obama were so great, then you wouldn't have had Donald Trump. And you could tell the narrative when almighty CNN is going, hey, man, what really was his legacy? Healthcare? And I don't know, who did we have on the other day? They were talking about Obama and how great, I guess that was Liberal Steve. He made the healthcare system worse. Did we help people that weren't covered? Yes. But at what cost? Can anybody arguably that is, an adult argue that the healthcare system before Obama, did Obama improve it or destroy it? The road to socialism ran through Barack Obama. And that's how you can break it down. If Obama were so great, there would be no Donald Trump. There would be no Donald Trump. Now, you could say, well, if Trump were so great, there'd be no Joe Biden. One would say, just go back to the shenanigans that went on in the election. Yes, it was an election. Biden was elected. Joe Biden. But you go back to all the hooks and crooks and mail-in ballots and everything else. Was that a fair election? I would argue it wasn't. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. But it comes down to, if you're a great leader, the show doesn't stop. George Seifert from Bill Walsh, that sort of thing. Or the train truly falls off the tracks. The train just derails. And I know there are a lot of people that, when your boss leaves, it's so weird. And I don't really know, maybe it's because I was acquired by Mrs. Miller Enterprises, maybe because I love my family, that I don't fear the change that much. I see a lot of people, they go, well, something, maybe it's your faith in God. Maybe some of us aren't defined by what we do. To an extent we are. But Kevin Miller out in public is the guy trying to lose weight or the guy trying to be a better person. The guy on the radio, yeah, sure, he's okay. But, Barack Obama really didn't have a problem getting out of politics. And you take a look at the Democratic Party, the shambles that he left it in. So, like I said, a long story, a very, very, very long story on change and how to be comfortable with it. By the way, we are not changing our commitment to the Boise Music Festival. A couple of announcements. We would love you to play the Kevin Miller game. How many times or how accurately can you sell 580-KIDO? We'll give you tickets to the music festival when I say, hey, or you can call anytime for that. I love just hearing 580-KIDO. Or caller 10 when we give you the cue to call. Or this weekend, we're going to be at the Walmart 11 to 1 in Boise. That's right. Walmart 11 to 1, store 2508, Saturday. Tomorrow as well, double session Walmarts, 3 to 5 in Meridian next to Roaring Springs, giving away tickets to the Boise Music Festival. But we're not done. Saturday, 11 to 1. Sunday, 11 to 1 as well. The Walmart North 10 Mile. Very nice store. I think that's the second newest. And finally, 3 to 5, we finish up on Fairview Avenue in Meridian, giving away tickets to the Boise Music Festival. Can't wait to do that. Can't wait to really just hang out there and watch again, when you're driving by on Chinden next week, you're going to see the stage going up, the fencing going up. It's a village, and we would like you to go. Okay, let's get to some things political.
The voter suppression. I mean, I am from Louisiana. This is the place that this case has sort of, been staged, but it's also historically where the Supreme Court used Louisiana to institute segregationist policies. I think we have to remember, too, there's not just a racial dimension to this. This administration is stridently anti-women, stridently anti-queer. And so the SAVE Act also has particular effects for married women. Yes. But I thought that the goal on this side was for everybody to become a trad wife. Yes. So I don't understand why now, we're seeing young women say online.
Which, by the way, if you get married and you take your husband's name, or you get divorced and you don't, and you try and vote, you could get in trouble under the SAVE Act.
That's right. And so if your documents don't match your name, then you can't vote. And this is also evidence or a reason for us to think about the fact that the things that we do, for instance, to undocumented people, and the things that we do around weaponizing access to your documents can affect citizens too.
Yes.
So there we have it. This is a person that, all of a sudden, if you take your husband's name, then you can't vote. Man. By the way, obviously this person's very successful. No, she works for a university. So she has nothing to do all day but get the TDS-fueled tirade ready to go. And an associate professor, not even a big-time professor, Brittany Cooper, opinionated. And by the way, Brittany, you're at Rutgers. How many times have you been home to Louisiana? I love this, that, the same. What's so wrong with requiring ID? What do they fear? What do they fear? Seriously. Do they fear the whole kit and caboodle coming undone? Kevin Miller, 580 KIDO, claims the SAVE Act will only allow moneyed white straight men to vote. Wow. And goes about it being unchallenged. Very, very strange. Once again, thank goodness we live in Idaho and we want to keep it that way. Over the weekend, what else is going on? Not much, really. We have a lot of online stuff going on. Who's going to lead the Republican Party? We'll see how that plays out. I love Tyler, though, my man Tyler Ricks, who, elected to the library board in Meridian. Working, just a hardworking kid. I always like his stuff on social media. Great family guy. He's just one of those young people. Hopefully, one day Tyler will be governor. One day, I'd really like to see that. Just one of the young people in politics. Just a shout out to Tyler. Let's get to the president. He gave an interview with Axios. Axios isn't even on TV. It's a printed publication.
His relationship with Netanyahu's, it's good, but we have to keep him a little bit sane.
Wow. Let's see. I have to keep him a little bit sane. That's one thing that Donald Trump, the president, doesn't have, and we have that annoying ding, is the president doesn't, he also doesn't have handlers. And he's just telling it like it is. Telling it like it is at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Could you imagine if President Trump had not been there to help Israel?
Donald Trump and Bibi Netanyahu worked well with me. But he will tell you, we're the ones with the guns, we're the ones with the whole deal, we're the ones with the B-2 bombers, etc. If it weren't for Donald Trump, Israel would have been eviscerated. His relationship with Netanyahu.
There we have it, the interview from Axios. We don't really talk about the violence and the atrocities against Israel anymore, do we? We don't really talk about what happened to those poor people, those poor babies. What we do talk about is going after the president and all the people that are there. So imagine if you're in the military. Imagine if your son or daughter is in the military and they're there serving our great country. And this is what they have to hear, the leftist rhetoric.
Not just the exercise of power, but the limits on your power as a result of the conflict.
There are no limits.
No,
I haven't learned that lesson yet. I know there are, but, there are no limits. We defeated them totally militarily.
Beginning a conflict, you had talked about you only wanted unconditional surrender. And, the MOU doesn't look like unconditional surrender.
Well, it really probably is unconditional surrender.
It is?
I think so.
So what the president loves to do, and people are running wild with it, apparently in this book, he's saying that he's more powerful than all the dictators and everything else. The president did some time in pro wrestling. And the president, a top promoter. So this is what he does. He knows he's going to, whatever he says is going to get a reaction. So what does he do? he sets a trap for the liberal loons to see whether or not they will bite. And yes, they are biting on this. And they're reacting to it. And they're reacting to all of these other crazy things that he says. I think sometimes he likes to do it. I think sometimes he just likes to see if he can get their goat. Kind of like, the kid in school or somebody at work or anybody else that loves to do that, right? Coming up, we've got a big guest. We'll tell you about it next. 580-KIDO, Kevin Mill in the morning. Let's get you to work going on. Coming up very soon. Brent Carr joining us. Brent, thank you for joining us here on the radio at 580-KIDO.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Well, tell us what's going on. We've got the exclusive big announcement, sir.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're holding a special event here in the Treasure Valley it's called the summer concert called Songs of Hope, Acts of Kindness. And this is a 100-year anniversary of the world-famous Tabernacle Choir and a concert that they are going to be performing at the Hollywood Bowl in L.A. And this concert is going to be broadcast to various locations around the country, including here at the Treasure Valley. And we're going to be holding a big community event at Sensi Commons next Friday evening, the 26th. And just an opportunity to celebrate some music, come together as a community, and recognize some incredible service that has taken place throughout the community.
Well, and do we have a list of songs? And, obviously to be so close to the world-famous Tabernacle Choir is just amazing, and to have this video feed and such. But, I mean, do we have, any run of events? And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but, No,
we don't have the actual, concert lineup of the songs they're going to be singing, but we can imagine that given the time of the year, there's going to be a lot of patriotic themes. They've got some special guests as well that are going to be joining them for this concert, including Donny Osmond, David Foster, Catherine McPhee, some big names of people that we'll recognize, and including a new one that was just added, the Bonner family. And so it'll be family-friendly, lots of great music, celebrating our country, celebrating our heritage. Kind of perfect timing coming into the 250 celebration.
Well, why is that so special, and why is this event so significant?
Well, I think the thing that we wanted to do, Kevin, is, there's so many problems going on around the world. This is an opportunity to come together and celebrate the good that's happening right in our community. And leading up to this event, we've had a number of service projects have been taking place in just communities here throughout the Treasure Valley, hundreds of different projects. Those will be on display. We're going to have like a little fair with tents. People can find out about some of the things that have been taking place at things like the Idaho Youth Ranch, Ronald McDonald House, Interfaith Sanctuary, Boise Rescue Mission, and many others. And we're going to be celebrating that, and then having some music. Local youth groups are going to be performing a little bit, and then we will have the concert. But we're going to have food, kids' games, bounce houses, different things like that, and just a lot of fun. It's a free community event. We want to bring the community together and just have a great time and celebrate the good that's happening all around us.
I like the idea of the youth groups as well, that, start them young, if you will.
Yeah, we're going to have, we've actually got a kind of a combined high school choir that's going to sing the national anthem, a couple of other fun numbers to kick this off. We've got a local youth group band called Spoof that's going to be playing live music. And so as people arrive, it opens at 5 p.m. And as people arrive, they'll be able to, take their kids to the game area. They'll be able to get food, walk around the tents, see the tents, hear the live music, and then we'll start with a little pre-program and recognize some of the great service. We've got some of our state leaders will be there, a few of the mayors here locally in the Treasure Valley, and some of the leaders of these service organizations. And then we'll do a quick little recognition and then kick off the concert, which will start at 7 p.m. And it'll be broadcast on a large screen, and if people are familiar with that Sensi Commons area, there's a big grass area, and we encourage people to bring their lawn chairs and blankets and just enjoy a fun evening of music and celebration.
Brent, anything else you'd like to share with us? A website, or one more time when where it is? We know where it's Sensi Commons, but when again, please?
Yeah, Sensi Commons, Friday, 26th of June, starting at 5 p.m. And there's plenty of parking around that area. We'll have people guiding folks where to go, and there'll be a lot of activities going on, and then the actual concert begins at 7 p.m. That will be broadcast on the big screen, and we are excited to have that. Don't have a website per se, but you can actually look up information about that, and we've put out a lot of different advertisements and different things, press releases and so forth. So it's just going to be a fun event, and we invite the community to come out and enjoy it.
Well, Brent, we appreciate you. Thank you for waking up with us and giving us this great information, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you for your show.
Thank you. Brent Carr joining us. Kevin Miller, 580 KIDO. Why don't we do this? A couple of issues. If you would like to win tickets to the Boise Music Festival, a couple ways to do it. Number one, you can be caller 10 when we give you the cue to call at 580 KIDO. That's not the cue to call. You can see me this weekend. We're going to be at various Walmarts. Looking forward to being on the road. Saturday, 11 to 1, we'll be in Boise. Saturday, 3 to 5, we're going to be at the West Overland Meridian Walmart giving away Boise Music Festival tickets. Thanks to Coca-Cola and Swire Coke for making that happen. That's 3 to 5 in Meridian. Sunday, we won't be spending a lot of time at home. After church, we're on the road once again, 11 to 1 at the 10-mile Walmart. And Sunday, the tour concludes 3 to 5 at the Fairview Avenue Meridian Walmart. So we look forward to seeing you and making sure you win tickets to the Boise Music Festival. A lot going on. It's go time. Snake River Stampede. We've got the Boise Music Festival. Won't be long before balloons are flying over Boise. Let's go to Chandler with Kevin Miller at 580 KIDO. Hello, Chandler.
Hey, Kev. Good morning. So I heard a rumor for the Boise Music Festival that you were going to be appearing on stage with Sean Paul for a performance of "Shake That Thing." Is that correct?
You know, I am tied to Everclear. I am tied to Everclear.
Oh, you are? Oh,
yeah.
Oh man, Lejo got
Everclear is the Kevin Miller artist. We have our bidding process, and last year it didn't work out with what's his name, Luke Grimes, because the guy just strange thing. Chandler, you've been around the big time, haven't you?
I guess, yeah. I performed on stage. They're sold out audience at the Greek Theater with Bell and Sebastian in Berkeley, the Berkeley Bowl. So, the Greek Theater. Yeah.
You've been on stage. You've had the thousands of adoring fans. So every artist, it's what makes them special, has these idiosyncrasies. So Luke Grimes, Casey Dutton, he really wants to be a country singer. He's a great actor. And by the way, in real life, he's very skinny. So there's always some of these people, they want to be introduced, they don't want to be introduced, and then he didn't want to be introduced, and then we were going to introduce him, and then they go, okay, now, it's like something you'd see out of Curb Your Enthusiasm or Seinfeld. Okay, Kevin, get ready. And I'm sitting there with my little KIDO shirt on, and da-da-da-da-da, and the guy literally just walks by, hey, everybody! And I have the video of Luke Grimes just walking by me, and that's basically my introduction to him. So whether it's Everclear or introducing the person that introduces Everclear, we all have this process. And the music people here, they usually get pretty vicious. Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? But I am not the Sean Paul guy. I keep calling him Jean-Claude Van Damme, but I will tell you a little secret on him, that he is bringing his, this is the same, because it's not like he's bringing everything. So when you make a commitment for an artist like him, or Marshmello, there are certain infrastructure requirements. Like we had to double the stage the year we had Pitbull, which is amazing to me. That you had Pitbull in Garden City, Idaho. And it's not really, it's a tribute to the people that make it happen, but it's also to the sponsors and obviously the people that show up to make that happen. So I marvel at the whole thing, not from a music fan's perspective, but from the business side of it and the logistics side of it. And, you know, watching security guard Mike work 17 hours in the day, it's free. So I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
No, so you're not. So that Elijah was totally jerking my chain on that. I was kind of really hoping to see you, dance on stage to shake that thing with Sean Paul. But you're saying there's a possibility there might be a Kevin Miller sighting related to Everclear. There's the possibility.
There's a thing that happens. Myself and the other station we're linked to, Kiss FM, Matt Walling, who's a product of Bishop Kelly and St. Paul's and Gonzaga. Good kid. He and I disagree on politics, but just a very gifted, talented guy. We're like the odd couple. And nobody wants to be the old guy in the odd couple, but I am the old guy in the young in the odd couple. He's the young guy, and he'll go up there and go da 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 da. I'm going, yes, hello, welcome, and then he'll start screaming, and so we will open it up, and then he'll have a few. I know he has Marshmello, but I have Everclear, so I'll introduce Everclear or introduce the person that introduces Everclear. We'll see how informal they are, but candidly, and I take sides on this. Dude, when you look at the lyrics of Everclear, and a lot of people, they don't get it. I mean, wonderful. Oh, breaks my heart. Father of Mine, AM radio. Those songs have meanings because the lyrics resonate with people. Now, I'm sure everybody else is gifted and talented, and they go wiggy, 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 and jiggy, 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 and shake your booty, 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 booty.
Right.
But just those lyrics of wonderful or Father of Mine or, I'm going to go to the Pacific Coast and run away. And maybe it's just a different frequency.
Well, there was some really good music in the 90s, and, they're up there, like, really good. Just, straight ahead rock with good lyrics and, just good music that doesn't seem to exist anymore. So,
okay, before we get to politics, here, I have to hit you with one more. Because I didn't appreciate him at the time until close to his death. But is there anybody better than Kurt Cobain when it came to writing lyrics and such? You listen to those lyrics on Nirvana.
I like the Pixies, what she said they were trying to rip off. So, I'm partial to them. So
who?
The Pixies.
Now, how masculine a man can you be if you're following a group called the Pixies?
I'm just saying at the end of Fight Club when everything burns down, that's the Pixies are playing. So.
Well, dude,
they're one of those bands that they were there for a short time, and then they had a few hits, and they had a major release, and then they just went away, and for about a decade or so, and a lot of bands like Nirvana, they're like, hey, we're just trying to rip off the Pixies. It inspired a lot of bands, and then there's a buzz, and when Scarcity happens, they're gone. And I'm like, they're on my bucket list. And all of a sudden they came back and they got to see him play at the Greek Theater in L.A. And it was a great show. So, they're, you should check them out too, Kev. I'm just saying, you might like them.
Like
they sound like they're just trying to rip off the 60s.
I will. I wasn't a Soundgarden guy. Again, tortured souls are kind of drawn to each other. And when you think of Cobain, man, and those lyrics, no, I don't have a gun, and I'm so this. I mean, oh, dude, even to this day, you're like, oh,
yeah. Well, if you like that, there is an album, Rock Swing. It's basically big band covers of, like Nirvana. And
yes, my dentist plays that. It's not big. It's instrumental, and I'm like, really? Smells like Teen Spirit with a big band.
What's his name? Oh man, he's a jazz singer. I can't. Rock Swings. Anyway, it's lyrics like "Eye of the Tiger," big band style. Wonderwall. It's great, man. I think you'd really appreciate it because the songs are the new standards. They're the new standards. So politics.
Yeah, I know that's tough to believe too.
What's that?
That's tough to believe that these our songs are like the standards.
They are, yeah. Another group you might like is
what?
Prozac for Lovers. They're like,
yeah, I'm not down with the Prozac or the Lovers. Hold on, here we go. And again, back in the day here. Dave Grohl, who would go on to, again, musical genius.
Come as you are, as you were, as I want you to be, as a friend, as unknown enemy.
Oh.
Yeah.
How can you not be moved by that, bro? The pain.
Classic, man, all time.
Yeah.
Never gets old. Gets old. So the abortion initiative, I mean, I guess it's go time. It's going to be on the ballot. I wish the Republican dirty tricksters would find a way legally to challenge it so we don't have to go through it. But I don't know. It looks like it's going to be on. I'm going to make a prediction, and that is...
Well, before you do that, let me ask you, is the weed thing on the ballot too?
I haven't heard. No. I mean, see, this is the point. Look, I'm a candidate on the ballot. I won my primary. I'm on the ballot for the Republican Party, and the groups that are opposing it, like, where are they? Like, where's the literature? Where are the talking points? I mean, I could be speaking for you. Look, I'm gonna get that United Statesman interview and also KCBB and Idaho News 6 interview is going to be on TV. I could be going to come here. We're 150 days out or so, and I know what I could talk about, but. Where is it? I mean, I was working the booth for the GOP at the Ada County Fair last year, and there's Reclaim Idaho, already talking about it. I think their gathering signatures are getting ready to. They have literature. They were already got the talking points going, lying their ass off. And what did the GOP have? Like, I think I saw one or two flyers, maybe from something, but it was, it was like not effective at all and didn't make sense and isn't going to resonate with people that are on the fence. And so here we are. It's like, my prediction on this is, unless something changes or there's something going on behind the scenes that I haven't seen, maybe there is. Like maybe there is. But they've had over a year to pitch this thing and lie about it. So that's what people know. You get out early with the lies, and then people believe the lies. And the problem the GOP and the Republican Party have is you're trying to convince somebody that they've been believing a lie. It's embarrassing. By the time they believe a lie, you have to not only counter them with the truth, but then make them feel uncomfortable in the sense that they've been believing of a lie. It's embarrassing. Most people don't want to be wrong. Most people don't want to be embarrassed. So if you're not going to be on the playing field early enough, you're going to lose, because nobody likes to be a fool. So my thoughts on this is, I think this is a make or break. Huh?
And not to interrupt, but maybe we're still waiting to get the official word from the Secretary of State. I don't see anything on Google whether the weed initiative got enough. You're saying the abortion issue, did the Attorney General or the Secretary of State issue a release on that yet?
I mean, I haven't heard no. I mean, once again, like, the groups are against it. I don't know. Like, I thought they had I thought they had the signatures for sure. I remember seeing a news story about that. The battle on the language or whatever. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure. But if I was fighting against it, I would, I think I'd be on the message more. I think this is a great thing for Idaho Chooses Life.
I don't see any certification coming from the Secretary of State, who, again, with fairness to him, he's a very fair man. He does a lot of media appearances. So maybe, instead of, everybody else slurping, somebody should ask the legitimate question. Hey, man, did this stuff get certified? I mean, it's been a month. Hey, man, what's the deal? And Phil McGrain's a good dude. I like him personally. And, one of the reasons, people say, well, why don't you have him on it? He wants to talk election stuff. That's snoozy. How about whether or not this stuff is on the ballot? And then, look, you know what I'm saying? And here's another one.
Yeah.
there are divisions within the Republican Party. And, Chandler, you being on this program, you're going to get blacklisted by the leadership if they're reelected. And look, I've had people, and it's been online, they've said, it's shameful the way this whole party has behaved based on, we have two challenges, abortion and the weed. And what has the Republican Party done statewide? Well, they're going to have a convention in Meridian where if you're not part of the echo chamber, here's the Republican Party in Idaho. You're either an establishment or you're, all or nothing. That's great. The Huns are at the gate. Can we stop fighting each other and save some lives in this state as you have advocated?
Yeah. Look, I'm totally on board with you. It is sort of frustrating because, there's work that needs to be done and there's energy that needs to be spent. And I kind of marvel at the way the Democrats seem to do a better job of, handling their business privately and resolving things and taking action and moving forward. And so it's, it is kind of disappointing or frustrating. But I know the convention is this weekend. I'm not a delegate. I'm not a voting member. I'm not PC. I'm just the vice chair for my legislative district, and that's what I'm focused on. And I'm running for office, so that's what I'm contributing here, and that's what I'm working on. And so, I just, like I said the other day, I was talking about, I think for the Republican Party, it's kind of in some ways a make or break moment. I think if you look at the roots of the party, and they're pretty noble, man. I mean, there are some really amazing people at the start, some really spirited folks. Oops. Hello?
Chandler? Yep.
Yo,
Chandler,
sorry,
thank you for. Yep. Thank Chandler for the call. Thank you, Chandler. Look, I applaud people that get into the process, but it's so toxic, and people make it about themselves. The beautiful thing of being a servant leader, we have a great attorney general. We have a great congressman. They could do other things, but they go into the arena. They're good people, and they're pro-life. Sometimes, and I have to learn this every day, the issues are bigger than yourself. But when you make it about you, everybody's a loser. Kevin Miller, 580 KIDO, making a difference. Really, in the end, it's about making a difference. Speaking of which, caller 10, you're going to win tickets to the Boise Music Festival. We'd love to see you there. We're going to be on the road this weekend. We'll tell you a little bit about that. Phone numbers here. We've given it to you. Website, we've given it to you. We're all set, locked, and loaded, but we do have big issues, and I do love Chandler for bringing those up. We are still waiting, right? Did I miss something? Did I miss the certification process amongst the multiple media appearances of the Secretary of State? Did I miss that? Maybe I did. I don't know. Maybe they didn't get certified. We don't want to assume. But hate it when you assume. Much more on the Iranian deal. We'll continue to take your fallback on that, your feedback on it. And, of course, more issues about the world that we live in and how to make it a better place. Like I said, it's a challenge that we live in. And speaking of which, we have, whether it's fighting or ceasefiring or whatever is going on the Israeli-Lebanese border. We'll take you there next. Kevin Miller, 580 KIDO. Good morning. The president, once again, being only how the president can be, he is the boss. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Congratulations to Sheila winning those tickets to the Boise Music Festival. Congratulations, Sheila. We are taking your calls about the issues that matter to you, and most notably, the ceasefire that continues to hold for now, and it comes down to Israel, and it comes down to Lebanon, or as they pronounce it in the South, Lebanon, and whether or not Hezbollah, Hamas will behave, and whether or not the Iranian people, the hardliners, and everything else are going to adhere to their word. to be part of the community of nations. By the way, when you think about that, how in the world, how much terrorism are you going to let the Iranians get away with? Oh, yes, in the South, they pronounce it Lebanon. The original Cracker Barrel is in Lebanon, Tennessee. Let's get to the negotiations and hear what they have to say about the latest.
The 60-day negotiation period between Iran and the United States has started, but it's still unclear when the two sides will meet. The talks between Iran and the U.S. planned to take place in Switzerland are postponed. The White House saying that plans for the talks have not been finalized and that the U.S. delegation is prepared to depart at the first opportunity. The announcement of the delay followed a report from a Hezbollah-allied media outlet that Iran was delaying sending its delegation to Switzerland over Israel's ongoing campaign in Lebanon. Today, intense clashes between Israeli forces and Hezbollah in the southern part of the country. Lebanon says at least 18 people were killed, and the IDF reported 4 soldiers died in the latest conflict. In Dubai, Max Gordon, Fox News.
Well, you think about that and how it just becomes normal that people die over there. I don't know if you caught it yesterday on Fox News, but they had the Ayatollah. The Ayatollah said, well, this wasn't this, that, and the other. What do you expect the Ayatollah to say? This was a great deal, and I bent the knee? All right, let's go to Lynn in Boise with Kevin Miller at 580 KIDO. Hello, Lynn.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, the hard-charging Lynn. If there isn't anybody that works harder for the Republican Party, it is. It's not. No one can compare to you.
Oh, I don't know about that. They call me the Barracuda. Barracuda.
Yes.
You. So I'm here at the convention, and it started off very crowded and raucous. And I was just listening to Chandler, and I wanted to talk about the abortion initiative because that is really what people are focusing on this weekend. And from what I've heard is the certification will not be happening until the end of June. So that was discussed yesterday. The Secretary of State has not released anything. They're still counting. They're still certifying, and evidently they have until the end of the month.
Wow. Well, some breaking news.
So we can't. We believe that they probably will have enough signatures, and that's when we're going to have to get into, high gear and start fighting this. And that is what everyone has been talking about at the executive committee yesterday. That was first and foremost on everyone's mind. They do believe that the marijuana will fail, and I'm hoping that's true, but we'll see.
Lynn,
the other thing is that if it does get on the ballot, we're going to have a real battle on our hands with all these other elections, these other seats, because the Democrats are going to come out in droves. So I am begging your listeners and anyone that cares about our state to please do not forget to vote. Register to vote. Get out and vote. You have 3 chances. You have early voting. You have day of voting, and you have mail-in voting. There's just no excuse not to vote. And our record, this last primary, it was pathetic. It was like 26%. That was just generally. And in some counties, it was even lower. So, if you don't vote, you can't complain. Right?
Well, no, I was trying to get a word in edgewise, but if you want to keep going, go ahead. Look. You've got the passion. I get it. I understand it. Lynn, you have tried and you continue to try to save the city of Boise. What's going on with the craziness there? You spend your time, your effort, your money, your passion to try to liberate the city of Boise. What's happening there?
What's happening is we have 2 potential candidates that are going to run for mayor. We're working on that right now. I want your listeners to know that she is out there campaigning right now. The Queen Bee. I have another name for another letter starts with B, but whatever. She is out painting curbs. She's appearing at every festival. She's already campaigning. She has a new chief of staff who was worked for Planned Parenthood and the ACLU. So what does that tell you? It's going to be tough, but we have got to get her out. And I don't know if you saw the whole flap about they wrapped the trees on Harrison Boulevard with these ugly ribbons. Looks like something, I don't know, a garage sale announcement. Harrison Boulevard is a historic boulevard named after Benjamin Harrison, who was the president when Idaho became a state. It's just, to me, it looks tacky. It's sacrilegious. Just leave Harrison Boulevard alone. It's beautiful boulevard. The trees are beautiful right now, and now they've got the trees wrapped in those colors from LGBT whatever mafia. And I posted it on Instagram and Facebook, and I've been getting hate mail, and I've had the phone number to the city to ask them why they allowed this. And I'm going to be getting a public records request because I did have a lot of people call the city and say take it down. So we'll see how many letters they got. I want to know if I can go wrap my particular. Should we just put the pro-life ribbons around with pictures of babies on the trees? Will they let us do that? Let's find out. Let's call the city and ask.
Lynn, you're always working. Let me hit you with this. You bring up the mayor's new chief of staff. She's been through a lot of folks. It's gone underreported, but in her time of office, she's gone through quite a lot of people.
Absolutely. And she's also the other thing that people should be looking at is that the budget was just released. If you can find it on the City of Boise website, because they bury it, and there'll be a hearing about the City of Boise budget on July 14th. So people should be, if you're worried about your taxes and you're worried about what they're spending money on, please review the budget, and you will be able to testify on July 14th. And last year I went to complain, and there were only 3 people there. So once again, lots of complaining, no action on our side. We have got to do better at showing up. Why don't we show up? I don't know. Can anybody answer that? 25 words or less. It matters. If you show up, it makes a difference. And we have got to call them and write them because everything is documented. And then I get these public records requests. By the way, that wrapping of those those poles downtown, that was not $6,000. That was around $15,000. So they lie because you got to go through the public records request that I got showed that they talked about when they were going to wrap the poles. They said, let's do it in the middle of the night so no one sees us. I mean, they are just mean and evil and nasty and sneaky. Yep, they're sneaky.
Do you miss Dave Beater?
I know. I love Dave Beater. We talk all the time. I worked on both of his campaigns. Not that I'm the smartest, person in the room, but I saw this coming a mile away. She's a sneaky, backstabbing human being. She was on the city council. He was going to run for that last term, and then I believe he was going to anoint her. And she texted him that day when she decided to run, and she said, "Dave, I'm going to run for mayor." She basically stabbed him in the back. Yeah, she's a horrible person.
He didn't know what hit him. I saw that. She was Obama to his Clinton, and he never saw it coming.
Nope, he didn't. Because she's being coached. She's being coached by the Democrat Party. I'm sure she's got coaches from outside of the state. Now she's got this new chief of staff that I'm sure has told her, you keep saying that it's a safe and welcoming city for everyone. And a lot of us said, well, we don't feel like it's a welcoming city for us. So now she's out there appearing at every festival. The other day in the North End, she was painting the curbs for the kiddos. That's her favorite word, kiddos. We're going to do this for the kiddos.
Well, and then we have the poor young child that was killed by an illegal, and nothing came out of her mouth about that except drive slower.
Right. So now we have all these ugly signs all over the neighborhood that say 20 is plenty, and then the curbs are being painted yellow. And, it just goes on and on and on. But the North End, they get out and vote. They mobilize. It's like a religion to them. And this whole pride stuff is becoming a religion. Look, I have gay friends. We all know somebody that's gay. Gay's been around since the beginning of time. It's not going to go away. But the rest of it is just so, you know what I mean. I don't want to say anything disparaging about people that have a different lifestyle. But they keep shoving it down our throats. It keeps getting more and more pervasive. The ribbons are now around the trees that are the trans. We don't believe in, there's only two sexes. We know that. Prove it that there aren't. So.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you, Lynn. And like I said, we admire your passion. And okay, now we're going to hopefully let you leave with a smile here, because and you didn't call in for this, but you continue to bring in, and I don't know how you do it, the biggest names to Boise.
The biggest what?
The biggest names politically, you bring them into Boise. The Syringa series.
Yeah,
I don't know how you do it.
It's all smoke and mirrors. Well, I go to a lot of events, and I'm just always, my husband who passed away said to me, Lynn, you've never met a stranger. So, I'm just out there, and, it's just connecting and getting business cards and talking to people. But, one thing leads to another, and I really feel like I've been blessed with that gift of gab and being friendly to people. I try to be like, I'm trying to be like Switzerland here at this convention, because, we're going to elect an old chair, or we're going to elect a new chair, and we'll see what happens. But I am thoroughly believing that we have got to do better as a party here in the state. We have got to stop fighting with each other, and we've got to fight evil, and we've got to fight the Democrats. That's my goal. I'm trying to be nice to everyone. But back to Syringa. Nick Shirley is coming October 10th, and Theo Wold will be co-hosting the event. So super excited about that. You can go to www.syringaseries.org and speakerseries.org and get tickets. They're selling fast, and we've already got some sponsors. So Nick Shirley's a hot ticket. Good guy, and I'm really excited about hosting him. And then next year, in February, we have Rob Schneider coming. So that's going to be amazing.
We got it.
Rob has gotten much more political. He's really out there talking about our
No,
country.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Lynn. Let me just say 580 KIDO, our friend Lynn Bradescu joining us. Not paying for any of this. We have to disclose that. This is her calling in and talking about bringing these folks here, and she's got sponsors and everything. And it's events like that that make a difference. You inspire people, Lynn.
Well, and we haven't selected our nonprofit yet. We honored the Boise Rescue Mission, which is right at the top of my list, because also when I ran for city council, I was fighting that interfaith sanctuary location. I mean, not that we want to help our disadvantaged population, absolutely, but that was not the right location for that particular homeless shelter. And I support the Boise Rescue Mission, as you do, and we raised money for them when we had one of our other events. So we like to bring in a charity and honor them. Haven't decided who it's going to be yet. Your listeners can give me some ideas. I'd love to do another veterans organization, because the veterans really mean a lot to me.
Well, Lynn, thank you very much, and good luck this weekend.
Yes, it's exciting. I'm just ready to go in now, and I'm going to continue to be like Switzerland. Okay.
Yeah, good luck. Thank you, Lynn. Let's go to Double D, David DeHaas.
Paid for by Living Waters Wellness Center.
You're not Switzerland, are you there, big boy?
Good morning, Kevin. Hey, Living Waters Cleanse is more than a colonic going to cleanse. Our clients are always surprised at how much they learn on healing the body. Well, the cleanser drove out from Nebraska for our 10-day cleanse and healing retreat on Monday. He was taught 2 valuable healing tools. He had restless body, restless legs. Sleeping was very difficult. He was getting up several times a night to go to the bathroom. Well, 10 years ago, our client almost died from a heart issue. Well, Wednesday morning at 3 a.m., he awoke with his heart racing at 130 beats a minute. Fear struck hard, and he was concerned he would have to pull out of the cleanse. And his mind went through all kinds of fears for about 10 minutes. Then he remembered the 2 techniques he learned and employed them. His heart rate dropped to 65 beats. His once restless body is still, no more restless legs, sleeps the night, heart's beating at 65 beats a minute. This Sunday at 9 a.m. on KIDO Talk Radio, we talk with Natalie Ledwell of Mind Movies, another powerful tool we share with clients to use on healing or just manifesting great things in life. Fascinating show. Don't miss it. To learn how you can heal your body, call 208-378-9911 or livingwaterscleanse.com. And nothing herein is meant to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease. Seek out a qualified healthcare professional to see if cleansing is right for you. And Kevin, the best lyrics, Willie Nelson, he has a new single out. It's called Idaho is Weed Free, but I went there to sing anyway. The state's so great, weed met its final fate. Willie Nelson, best lyrics.
Yeah.
How about
that? Can't be.
Hello,
that
Walls.
can't be true. That's you doing shtick, right?
The bubbles in my beer and Hello Walls are the funniest lyrics I think he's ever written. That guy's quite a writer.
Well,
No,
he's
that
inspired
is
by the weed, if you will.
You gotta laugh, Kevin. If you're not laughing, you're not living. That's David's song. That's my lyrics.
You know, we're the watchers on the wall, David.
Yes. You busy this weekend, Kevin? Nothing going on, right?
Yeah, actually, David, I've been talking about my Walmart appearances. Thanks for listening.
I know. I was like, wow, every Walmart in town, you're hitting it hard.
Well, you know, we're giving away tickets to the Boise Music Festival.
That Fit Music Festival is so fun. We went last year with my mother, and she was 86-year-old mama was out there rocking it. She was dancing to the beat. So cool. She loved it.
Well, who are you looking forward to? Marshmello, Sean Paul, Everclear, Willie and Billy, and Timmy and Willie, or who?
You know, I can't go because I'm speaking at the biohackboise.com event, and I don't really know any of those bands, but my staff here tells me little Miss Cambria, 7-year-old Cambria, she likes Marshmello. So I guess Marshmello's pretty good. I don't know who Marshmello is. I'm still a Doobie Brothers guy.
He's like insanely international, or perhaps even bigger than Pitbull, our big, and Jelly Roll combined, our biggest star yet.
Yeah, Jelly Roll was great. I actually went with my boy to Jelly Roll. I didn't know who Jelly Roll was. So you're enlightening me by these music festivals. Sorry, I'm going to be out teaching some people how to get well, but yeah, that's a great event. Everyone should go.
All right, David DeHaas, Sunday at 9. We appreciate it. Your website?
livingwaterscleanse.com. Watch.
Thank you, sir.
Educational video. You have a blessed week, Kevin.
You too.
Paid for by Living Waters Wellness Center.
Boy, a long talk there with Lynn Bradescu, and I mean, she should be a reporter. And I love how she's saying she's Switzerland. It's a very interesting dynamic, though. You know, the abortion issue is going to be a challenge. Let me get back to that in a minute. Kevin Miller, 580 KIDO, 5436 580 KIDO. You know, back to this initiative and the Republicans and people coming together. I appreciate Lynn talking about it, but I think those bridges have all been burned. And we'll get to that in a minute. But just picking up on what she said when she's talking about the weed initiative. If the weed initiative fails, that'll be a major loss for all the people that invested a ton of money into the weed, the weed lobbying, the weed propaganda, and all those people that say, oh, it's only a matter of time before the weed becomes federal law. No, it isn't. This is one place where Idaho can continue to lead the nation in just saying no to this garbage. And the idea that federal law and drugs and everything else, if you go to a treatment facility, they will tell you. Now, not everybody is as good as some of you that will tell me that, I can handle my weed. Or the people that go, wink, wink, yeah, I know what it's about with the weed and all that. No, it's not. It's truly about what is and what isn't legal. Now, the Supreme Court saying that, with the guns, and if you smoke the weed, you can carry the guns as long as you're a good weed smoker. Well, I really don't know what a good weed smoker is. because you are breaking the law. You are breaking the law, which is crazy. Let me further that, though. This will be a major embarrassment, to, like I said, the people that want to make Idaho little California. Because it shows you that money and organization has its limits. Now, again, back to, and I love Lynn Bradescu giving us her unsolicited thoughts on the mayor and everything else. I agree with that. I understand where she's coming from, and I understand that the city of Boise has to be liberated, but who's going to do it? I guess there's two candidates potentially that are circulating, and yes, the mayor is out doing the mayor thing and appearing at festivals and really, conjuring up her cult of personality, and it's going to be wonderful. And isn't everything great? I don't think that everything is great. Lynn talking about the taxes being raised and all that, and everybody's paying for that, for the trees to be wrapped, for the flagpoles to be wrapped.
Welcome back to the Lars. You can hear the gravel in my voice, and I would imagine that David Bozell can hear it as well. But don't worry about it, David. Thanks for coming on the show.
Larson.
Hey,
Mr.
it does.
Larson, what happened?
It does. It goes to the territory. It's air conditioning in the summer. It's seasonal allergies. Probably 100 different things. But I want to ask you about this. Because I work for a living, I couldn't sit and watch the entire appearance on The View by Vice President J.D. Vance. But based on what I read about it, based on the little bit I did see, and some of the pull-out sound bites, I think J.D. Vance acquitted himself well. And I thought the ladies of The View were just about as crazy.
Boy, we'll play a better clip of Lars with our friend David Bozell coming up. But first, do want to remind you about our friends at Team Mazda. If you've got an old car you would like to trade in for a newer one without putting any cash down, by the way, they're doing some amazing videos. This is your last chance to get to the Team Mazda and pre-owned superstores Trade-a-thon Marathon finale. It's done this weekend. This weekend of the event at the old Kmart parking lot on the corner of Karcher and the Boulevard in Nampa. That's right. They're there working for you, grinding to get you that deal. If you've been putting it off, now's the time to bring in your trade and swap it for a better used car, truck, SUV, or even a brand new Mazda. Team is offering up to 130% of book value for your trade, and your current vehicle is more push, pull, drag, or clunker. Team will guarantee a minimum $2,000 trade value towards your purchase. Best of all, you can use your trade as the entire down payment. That's right, zero cash down. And here's something a little extra. With your purchase, Team will give you a $2,000 Visa gift card. Use it for summer gas, a family getaway, or whatever makes your summer more fun. And don't forget the Strike It Rich mailer. Bring it to the Trade-a-thon Marathon and see if you're holding the winning number. The grand prize, $25,000. There's a winner, and this weekend, that winner could be you. It's the weekend finale to trade in the old for the new at Team Mazda's Trade-a-thon Marathon at the old Kmart, the corner of the universe, Karcher and the Boulevard. Look for the big white tent and drive home in a newer vehicle before it's over Sunday night. Please tell them Kevin Miller sent you. 580-KIDO, let's get you to work safely and on time.
Looming Iran deal was sort of going forward. And you had some concerns in 2022 with a very different president. When you look back to the JCPOA, do you wish it was still in place, or do you think that had big faults as well?
No, I had very big concerns with the JCPOA, especially because it didn't address the Iran's terror program, which we saw in full effect with Hamas. We see it with Hezbollah now and Palestinian Islamic Jihad. So that never got addressed, and they continue to fund terror, which obviously hurt our country and our bases and our servicemen and women. So, that was one of my big concerns then. It's not been addressed now. And one thing we've learned all throughout this whole process is that Iran lies, the regime there, right? The government does. Not only do they kill their own people, and attack freedom and democracy, but they lie about their nuclear program and continue to, right? They claim they were enriching back then for energy, which is a very low percent enrichment. They far went beyond that, driving toward a nuclear weapon, which is why we are, of course, part of the reason why we're in this conflict in the first place. They lied then. I have no reason to believe that they won't lie now about whatever they do. And President Trump saying, don't worry, they've told me they're not going to develop a nuclear weapon. They've given us assurances. They gave the same assurances under the JCPOA. They've given the same assurances now for decades. They've continued to drive to have a nuclear weapon. And now they've developed much more sophisticated ballistic missiles and drones and things that put Americans and our allies at risk. So you can't trust this Iranian regime. And it seems right now what we're doing is only losing and not gaining.
We all could just do MAGA media all day long, but it's just important to go into the lion's den. It's important to go to the other side just for the practice of it all. But these guys are trained professionals. They know how to handle these ladies. And you could tell the funniest exchange was when Whoopi was trying to get J.D. Vance with this gotcha question, but she couldn't remember, the latest thing that she read on Blue Sky. And she said, well, you've jailed, you separated how many, you've taken away what black monuments? And she just couldn't figure it out. She couldn't spit it out. And she just, trailed off, and Niner, was there a breaker in there? I mean, it was silly. And, so he just laughed and kind of chuckled it off, and, good display. I don't know if it sells him any books. I don't know if the Views audience is the vice president autobiography book buying club. This ain't Oprah anymore, but we'll see.
And we'll take a break next. Kevin Miller, 580 KIDO.
Paid for by Ron Grant, your safer money specialist.
Who joins us now? Ron, good day. Is it a good Friday to keep your money safe?
Every day is a good day to keep your money safe because you worked hard for it. And that's important, Kevin. We want to retire and enjoy our retirement living with our family. And to do that, you got to have some money, and not just a pile of money, in a 401k. You want to make sure that you have an income stream that you can live on every single month. I coined a phrase over 17 years ago, mailbox money. Go to the mailbox and pick up a check for the rest of your life. Your life. If you're married, when you pass away, your spouse gets that money for their life. And then when they pass away, whatever's left goes to the beneficiaries. Kevin, my clients and I, we participate in some of the upside of Wall Street, but never the downside of Wall Street. And every year there's a gain, we lock it and go one way. And that's important because we worked hard for our money. We want to make sure we can enjoy our retirement.
And Ron, that's where you come in. How can you help others, and how can they get a hold of you?
Well, helping others is what I like to do, Kevin, and I put together a great educational website that they can go on 24/7, look at it at their leisure, safermoneyspecialist.com. There's some articles to read, lots of videos to take a look at, and then you can email me from the site if you like, or let's have a phone conversation right here in the Treasure Valley about how to have a guaranteed income that you can't outlive, unlike the Wall Street casino, zero stock market risk, and legacy protection for you and your family. 208-660-1372.
Ron Grant, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate you, buddy. Have a good weekend.
Paid for by Ron Grant, your safer money specialist.
There we have it, our great friend Ron Grant. Okay, so let's roll into this. And when we last left, we heard from Lynn Bradescu that she believes the weed initiative will not go down, will not come up on the ballot, but it's the abortion issue. And, many people are very worried about this. She says that she's Switzerland. In other words, there's, a ton of infighting going on within the Republican Party. And, if you're happy with the way things are going, then you keep the people in charge. And if you're not happy, then I don't really see a consensus candidate. Maybe Steve Thain. I don't know Mark Fuller. I know all about Dorothy Moon. And if you're down with Dorothy Moon, then you'll, like Tea Party Bob, you'll vote to reelect her. If you're not, then maybe you'll go somewhere else. I do think Vicky Purdy will be the vice chair. And, it's very challenging because you have people, and we've seen this. This is a very uniquely Idaho situation. And it really is a microcosm of two Senate districts. On one Senate district, you have Senator Christy Zitto, a diehard true blue conservative that was very close to folks and still is, and wanted to be part of holding people accountable. And they had this thing, and I don't really get too much into it because I don't think it translates well. This gang of 8, that these 8 lawmakers decided to do certain things. And then these folks were targeted. And then people are, saying that they're taking orders from other people. And really, in the end, did we get rid of the grocery tax? Were we good stewards of the budget? Or did we allow ourselves to get involved with too much of the personal shenanigans? 2 well-funded opponents tried to take her out. It didn't work. Why? Because she's of the people. Jim Guthrie, senator, the guy who is a Republican, but he's a very progressive Republican when it comes to immigration issues. And he had the support of, you want to know where your constitutional officers are, with the exception of the crime-fighting attorney general. They all endorsed him for a local Senate race. I don't know if they endorsed anybody else, but Guthrie's seat had to be kept. And thousands of dollars were, in fact, used by, the lobbyists and the fundraisers and the volunteers to keep Guthrie afloat. And then you have people saying, well, I'm mad and I'm not down with Guthrie, and the Republican Party is a bunch of rhinos. And, you're either in the rhino camp or you're in the camp of the freedom fighters. And the freedom fighters have not been very effective. And you have the current chairman that, who created a platform that she was anti-radio. And one of my private conversations with her was about her attacking radio because she didn't like a radio show on this station. Not mine, but it's been well documented. And she was going to transform the party into a digital smidgetal. I think I have more Instagram followers than they do. Fine. But with that, comes appearances. And going on the Steve Bannon show, or the people that support her. She's not coming on this show. She can call in, but, again, I'm not a fan of hers and she's not a fan of mine. I will never lie to you about that. And it's cost me a lot of personal strife with my friend Tea Party Bob. But as Lynn Bradescu said, if you want, she's trying to be Switzerland, and you have people that don't want to get into the cult of personality. And that's what it's become. And sometimes as a leader, you become the problem. And that's where it is now. Now, I don't know anybody else. Until the new regime came in, I was hosting things and all that. And I guess as a lifelong conservative Republican endorsed by Patrick Joseph Buchanan, been to the White House 3 times, been to broadcasts from Congress, including Reagan's funeral. I guess I'm not Republican enough for the current leadership, not rank and file Republicans. But it comes to a point that, did you get into this to be on the Steve Bannon show or to hang out in Twin Falls, or did you get into it to stop abortion from taking over the state? Did you get into this, and this goes for everybody running for office, did you get into it to do something about the city of Boise, where you have the skipping Boise mayor following while that city is overtaxed and underserved? Imagine what it must be like to be a conservative in the city of Boise. You talk about targeted. These are nonpartisan issues because everybody, and again, Lynn Bradescu pointing out that the mayor, was painting things. Yeah, I know that, Lynn. We put it on the show. We were the only ones to put it on the show, to call her out, to say, is this what we're doing? We're electing somebody that's going to paint curbs. What was done to the Boise Police Department, the accusations, the waste that went on. I'm not going to say fraud. I will say abuse, in my opinion. But to spend all that money, and nobody, again, it's Idaho. People come to Idaho because, people are very forgiving. There was nobody rallying against it. As I said before, I think, and I don't know if the libs are down with this, but there has to be a nonpartisan tax oversight thing, not doji. because obviously that didn't do enough. Apparently now, the media loves to bag on the Republicans. Oh, the state's got, doesn't have enough funding. Well, I don't know if it does or if it doesn't, but I do know that people are paying more and getting less. And when you have the state's largest, most prosperous county, Ada, saying we have to raise taxes to leave the lights on, something is alarming. And could it be simply that the simpleton talk show host, yours truly, was right all along saying that the state of Idaho was really funded by Joe Biden and Biden dollars? Oh, Kevin, you're making me think too hard. Let's give away tickets to the Boise Music Festival. We will do that. We will do that, old friend. But truthfully, and do I have the bandwidth to do that? No, I don't have the to do it. Dave Petzo, very heartfelt, talking about should he and his beautiful wife talking about running for office. People come to me all the time and say, what should I do? Don't do it. The idea that we attack people personally, that's what the loons do. And that we, and the back and forth and this, that, and the other. Look, it's like this. I have been at the top of my game and been fired because they didn't like me or they needed a change of direction. And that's really what it comes down to. All of these unpaid people that work. If you like the way it's going, so be it. As I said, when the current chairperson was elected, the money will be cut off from her. She will have no money. Because if you're not a member of the club, or at least part of the club, like our friend Barry Peterson. Barry, I hope you're still with us, and I hope you're still hanging out with the horses in Mountain Home. I'm so grateful for you always being nice to me when I first got here. You're not getting any money. But if you continue to punch them in the face, you're really not going to get any money. Does money fuel politics? I don't know. Where's the passion? And we can also say that, where is the vibe when we're talking about voting in Idaho? Where is the vibe when it comes to where are all the Trump people that during the pandemic would get in their pickup trucks and drive and have parades? Politics is tough business. To be involved in, to take time out of your day, like our man Tyler from Walmart, Tyler Ricks, who's I love that kid. I hope he becomes governor one day. Takes time off from his busy job to do this and to volunteer and to be a part of something big. I think he's on the Meridian Library Board. A great guy. We need more Tylers and less toxicity. And this is a person that, I'm talking about myself. I don't play politics. I live it. But, people say, well, you got to be tough. Okay, then there has to be a ground between the Guthries and others because the internal strife is just not working out. And, there's a guy on this program years ago, Senator Lenny, and he's the guy that told us the state has doubled, quadrupled, tripled the budget. Have the services doubled, quadrupled? Well, the demand has. And if you're Meta, if you're Schmeta, if you're any of these major corporations that have moved into the state, it's good fixins. But with, least regulation, you have to come up with some type of accountability. And that's where you come in. I know. Let's just get back to talking about the weed. 580 KIDO traffic. Let's get you to work safely and on time. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Kevin. From the Pacific Steel and Recycling Studios, traffic on the freeway looking good east and westbound. In fact, dispatch says all the way from Ontario to Twin Falls looking good. Still finishing cleanup of an accident at Amity and 10 Mile. Now's the perfect time to save money and get that annual maintenance done on your AC. Perfect Plumbing, Heating, and Air. They'll tune up your AC for $29. Call Perfect or schedule online at callperfectnow.com. I'm Dave Burnett. That's your traffic now on KIDO.
It's funny because we have Liberal Steve that is being very descriptive in his email saying, what are we talking about? We're talking about the state convention going on. And like I said, you're either going to, there has to be some type of change, whether it's a change in leadership or a change of direction when you're thinking about where are we. On one hand, we've had the governor who's talking about how great everything is and the state's going to be great and it's wonderful. And look, comparatively speaking, he's right. That's why people keep moving in. But then you take a look at the diminished services. You take a look at the cities howling, blaming the Speaker of the House. Hey, man. I don't know anybody else besides Mayor Kling, former Mayor Kling, and the Speaker of the House that spelled that out. It was on this program. It wasn't a scheduled interview. They just called in to get their sides out. So, like all of us, and this is the incredible criticism of government, you have to do more with less. And that's really what that House Bill 389 has done. And I take a look at where I live. It's nice and everything, but it's totally transformed. I didn't vote for that. I didn't vote for a single lane in and out. But businesses are coming in. I can remember being on the air quality board and debating that issue with a city council member. And I go, all you mayors and, you keep putting all these centers in here, and I understand that alleviates the tax base, but is there enough infrastructure to support it? So again, there's a lot of heady issues. Let's get back to what if the weed ballot initiative doesn't get on the ballot? Will people accurately cover it and say that the folks in Idaho did not take the weed money? The folks in Idaho did not buy the weed lie. The folks in Idaho, even though some people love the weed, are going to have to go to Ontario and make sure that they don't get busted in Canyon County or Gem County or Ada County or Boise County or wherever. It'd be a great victory for all of us. And because of our friends, Idaho Chooses Life, Stanton, we're going to stand by the life. And that will be the sum of all fears, whether or not you will have both establishment and others coming together, because you've got a lot of money associated with these state officers. A lot of money in their war chest. Is there even a Democratic nominee that could be used to help the life issue? Maybe that's legal, maybe that isn't, but we'll have to talk to David Ripley about that. But if people are truly concerned about that, you have to put all the pettiness aside and really live it. And we'll be watching and we'll be supporting, because we're there for you. Keep it here. By the way, caller 10, I didn't forget you. Boise Music Festival tickets can be yours now. 3 down, 1 to go. God bless you all. I so appreciate you. Fox News on your home for Fox News. Brought to you by Treasure Valley Subaru, 580 KIDO. Winning those tickets to the Boise Music Festival, it is go time. It is go, 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 go. When we're giving away tickets to the Boise Music Festival, like I said, very excited to be out and about Saturday and Sunday. We're going to be at the Walmart on West Overland in Boise, 11 to 1. Saturday, 3 to 5, the West Overland Walmart as well in Meridian. 3 to 5 next to Roaring Springs. Sunday, we move on. Walmart, 11 to 1. And it is the 10-mile Walmart. Very nice Walmart. Was just there yesterday. And finishing up, the Walmart on Fairview Avenue, giving away Boise Music Festival tickets. Do want to thank Swire Coca-Cola, Walmart, and our friends at the Boise Music Festival. Come out and get some tickets. And I promise, unless you want to, we'll talk about the politics. But if not, we're good. Just talking about this great, free, fun, fast-moving music festival that will be entertaining the masses very, very soon. That having been said, all heck apparently is breaking loose. Israel and Hamas, and Hezbollah were fighting today. So they were fighting, and now apparently they have the ceasefire as well. J.D. Vance will not be going to Switzerland, will not be going to have a talk, will not be traveling. And look, it's really more of the same with the Ayatollahs. The Ayatollahs are always this way. They will do or say one thing, and then they'll do or say something else. It's very simple what they do. Some people would call it, I don't want to go to the bait and switch, but, they're going to, they stop the bombing. Now, what the short-sighted people, the media will say, this is the most, how should we put this, the most progressive thing that we've ever had with people. In other words, this has been the furthest along we've ever been in 50 years with this memorandum of understanding. Is that progress? If it were Barack Obama, people would say it's wonderful. Here's Max Gordon.
The Ayatollah both projecting Iranian unity and also defiance toward the United States, even as negotiators are set to meet in Switzerland. Here's one of those posts here in Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei's statement. He says, in the course of reaching this stage, the officials in charge, out of sincere concern and goodwill, made extensive efforts. And of course, it was the American president who, out of desperation, used all kinds of leverage to bring this about. The Ayatollah goes on to say he held a different view on the Memorandum of Understanding, but signed off on it after Iran's president accepted responsibility for its outcome and said he wouldn't give in to excessive American demands.
Well, I'm glad we heard from the Ayatollah. Let's go to Patriot Ray, who joins us now at 580-KIDO. Hello, Patriot Ray.
Good morning, Kevin. Just had an opportunity where I was break from work, but I couldn't get in and call you. But, you know, we've had a discussion before about the difference between the Democrats and Republicans. The big difference is the Democrats, they can be going straight to hell and they'll all vote the same. Republicans, we've got too many rhinos in there who just follow along because they don't want to offend anybody and they don't want to have a problem. And Thune will not have the cojones to fight against anything. He just, oh, you know, we'll just go down, kick the ball down the road. And I'm getting tired of that acquiescence they do. We have got to realize that we're in a battle. We're in a battle for many things. We're having abortions left and right. It hasn't changed a lot since the law. And the big problem is we are sacrificing children to the altar of Planned Parenthood. And what's the difference between that and what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah and everything else in that realm? We are ripe for destruction in many ways. But we still have faith that our Lord and Savior is in charge. And things will work out in the end. But we need to be strong and we need to keep calling our senators and representatives, let them know our opinions, and they have got to get the strength within themselves to make the right choices or get the heck out. That's all that we've got going for us. So, Kevin, you stay fired up. It's a pleasure to have you on the air here in this great state of Idaho. I'm so grateful you decided to make the change and came here because we need your voice. We need the opportunity to have people call in and express their opinions. And we need to stay in the fight. We can't give up. We have got to go forward. My faith is in my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And in my church, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, just in case little Steve forgot. And I do what I can, and we support those who need help, but we do not just want to give everything to everybody. And illegal, folks, is illegal. Somebody comes here illegal, they should leave or be forced to leave. I'm sorry, it's just the facts. And anchor babies should not exist. So, Kevin, your thoughts?
No, I agree with you on that. I think, again, we are at a major crossroads when we're thinking of the state of Idaho and really where are you in the middle? You know, you're either, and really the conservatives, look, when the governor made that slip about Mark Fitzpatrick and the followers there, that was something. I wish I knew the solution. I don't know, but you have people, as long as they're in power, I think there's not going to be a lot of genuine immigration reform. And essentially what the establishment does, and this goes back to the days of John McCain, is they're just trying to wait people out so they can have another amnesty thing. That's really what it is. It's just, waiting for the next amnesty push.
You know, an amnesty should not exist. I'm sorry, we've already given amnesty, twice? And it hasn't worked out in our favor. And now we've got illegals here who get handed so many things that they shouldn't even get. Social Security, paychecks, they get phones, they get a place to live. And with these apartments where they kick regular people out who are paying their way, and then they give it to the illegals, and the government's paying them 3 times what they were getting from the people that were in there. So you can't blame the people of the houses, but the government is doing it. And the government is supposed to represent the citizens of this great United States and not illegals or those who just come here for a free ride. And Obama, he was horrible. He was going to unite the country, but he did nothing but divide the country. He made it impossible for us to get along because they keep pushing the race issue. Race is not the issue. When 911 came out, this country came together. And so many people just wanted to do what was right. And all of a sudden, somewhere along the line, when Obama was in there, it just changed. So God bless, Kevin. We love you. We appreciate you on the air. We love your family. You've got a great mother and father that we just love to hear, too. And I was so grateful to be able to hear her the other day. So you stay fired up. Keep going. We're listening when we can. If not, we listen to the podcast, and that's even just as good. God bless.
God bless Patriot Ray. Kevin Miller, 580 KIDO. She's a little tongue-tied. Senator? Well, the senator doesn't want to talk. We'll get to that in a minute. It's funny. People have not been able to beat the president. So what they're doing now is anytime they get to circle the wagons, Republicans, Democrats, the media, the Ayatollahs, they do it.
Protect Our Polls Act, and it does three big things. Number one, it requires that President Trump come to Congress to get approval before he would ever deploy uniformed military to our polls. There is only one legal way to send uniformed military to the polls on our books, and that is to, quote, repel armed enemies of the United States. We have never done this in our history. Not during World War II when we were in the middle of combat operations, not just months after 9/11 when we had been attacked on our own soil. We have never in our history sent uniformed military into our polls during an election. So if Trump wants to do that and use this narrow exception, he should be able to come to Congress and seek our approval to do that.
Remember the clip we played earlier? I'm the boss. They don't like that. Separation of powers, checks and balances. Does make you wonder at 580-5436, 580 KIDO. So here we have Senator Slotkin saying that he's going to send troops to the polls. No, he's not going to send troops to the polls. That's no, they're not going to do that. But it's ridiculous. Every Democrat is trying to gin up something that they can use to try to take down the president. And when you think of the president, the guy has been very successful. He's the only one that's had enough guts to go after the Iranians.
And the difference between the two agreements. So, first of all, the two big differences are not even in the substance of the deal itself, but something I said earlier are, number one, the Gulf Coast Coalition loves this deal because they think that it makes Iran weaker. They hated the Obama deal because they thought that it made Iran stronger. They know more about this, and they have more to lose than anybody, including the United States of America, so I trust their judgment. The second thing is where the deal came from. You have to remember, in 2015, Iran had built a sophisticated nuclear weapons program with a nuclear weapons stockpile. So the perspective that we came at as the United States was, you already have a really nice nuclear program. We're going to bribe you with American money in order to stop it. Our perspective and where we're coming at it is we already destroyed your nuclear program. And so if you promise and show verifiable pathways to not rebuild it, then we are willing to give you some sanctions relief and things like that. So it's a fundamentally different perspective. Now, there are all these substantive differences as well. The Obama nuclear deal allowed enrichment. Ours will not. The Obama deal allowed the accumulation of stockpiled weapons-grade material. Ours is actually leading to the destruction of that stockpile of enriched material. So there are many differences. The Obama deal gave them over $1 billion of American money. This deal gives them $0 of American money. So a lot of substantive differences, but I think the most important differences are where we're coming at it from a position of strength and the fact that our Gulf Coast partners love this deal.
Yeah, because it allows them to determine whether or not the Iranians are going to be good partners, whether or not the Iranians are going to actually follow the rules of the road, which is fascinating when you think about it. You ever try to break a habit? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's going to your favorite whatever. And you get used to it, and then all of a sudden you try to break the pattern. Therapists or counselors call it, a neuro pattern? And to break that neuro pattern takes a while. So we've had 50 years of them sponsoring the terrorist, 50 years of them being very, very bad, 50 years of just shenanigans, for a lack of a better term. And we've given them a chance. Now, here's the opportunity. And like I said, with the president of the United States. When they dropped that not war powers thing, when they dropped that whole war crimes thing, I think that was a shot across the bow. I do think it was a shot across the bow, and I believe the president, and again, I'm not questioning the president's integrity, but I am saying that he has been through so much. He has accomplished so much. I do believe that he thought to himself, hey, man, if we go in and we continue to go in, obviously there's me, JD, and Pete and Marco. But we could all be brought up on war crimes. What is so crucial that we all have to remember is that if the Democrats get the House and they come close in the Senate, it's going to be every week is impeachment. Every week is impeachment. Every week is a trial. Every week is prosecution. And all the things that we've uncovered, will be forgotten. For instance, and I know you're a deep thinker at 580 KIDO, let's go back to the January 6th commission. Remember the truth-telling commission that was going to solve all the problems? Why did they destroy their files when they left? Why did they pardon themselves if what they did wasn't wrong? Concern in Emmett with Kevin Miller at 580 KIDO. Hello, Concern.
Good morning, Kevin. Yeah, I wanted to
Good morning.
get good morning. I want to get a little bit preachy, but I just wanted to say, I watch the news, I listen to your program, I listen to the people out there and what's going on, and this constant battle that we have, of Democrat and Republican and conservatives and whatnot. It really comes down to one thing and one thing only. It's good against evil, and how do you know good from evil? That you have to figure out, because what was good in Nazism is not good in America. Everyone has their own vision. But as what I wanted to say is, we all have Bibles, and, based on what the government says, the media says, our preachers say, our church, religion, stuff, pick up the book and read it. We're fighting against principality and evil all the time. And this is what's going on, with all these things out there, the homosexual, the gay rights, the abortion, the drugs, everything. It's just that is the answer, to our country, is to go back, pick up the Bible, read it, and take it for yourself and not what other people are saying, and look at that, because that's really what our country's suffering from, is just lack of principle and common sense. But I just listen to it every day, and it's a shame people have an answer, but they just don't want to pick it up and read it. And everyone kind of does what's right in their own mind. But that's kind of what I was going to talk about. And I keep on praying that there's a turnaround in this country, a repentance to what is good, and stop buying into the media and the evil that's around us continuously, and start. Then that's where the answer is going to start, is right there. And then we go from there. But I appreciate your show, Kevin, and I appreciate all the people that call in that are believers and conservative and do the right thing. But that's really where the battle lies, and we've got to take it one step at a time. But people need to stand up, or we're going to lose this country. And there's some good things going on, and we just need to concentrate on them and stand up for what, like your call earlier, we need to stand up for stop this. But love your show, Kevin. It's the best place to go to for conservative values and just godly values and everything. So appreciate your show. Appreciate it all the time. I just wanted to say thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, Concern. God bless you. Appreciate you.
God bless.
God bless. Lee Joe joins us now at 580 KIDO. Hello, Lee Joe.
Hello, sir. I'm about to walk into the broadcast center and get my tickets from yesterday.
Congratulations.
Yay, congratulations to me. The points are, looks like the Iran deal's falling apart again. if the IRGC still exists, it's a loss for Donald Trump. And, that's the way it's going to be. And, well, we're just, like I said yesterday, every 5 years, lather, rinse, repeat, drop bombs on their nuclear program. And that's probably the best we can do. Best we can hope for. Containment is what needs to happen there. Cut off their funds, and I don't care if the Gulf stayed closed forever, other than I can't afford gas or diesel for my machines. But that's, and Lynn Bradescu is so right. The Republicans of Boise, the best we can do is hope for reinforcements to come in from Nampa, because there are a few people that actually get out and work. But the Republicans of Boise are just, they roll over. They let all this happen. And it's amazing to watch, an actual full-blown socialist who celebrates May Day and celebrates the Haymarket riots, when communism started really getting a root before 1900. She celebrates that, literally. And we sit here and act like, oh, all is well. May she increase the taxes more on someone else than me, I guess. Whatever it is. But Republicans are just the weakest thing in town here. And it goes back to Boise State. They're, everybody's getting educated at Boise State, and they think that kind of behavior by government is normal. Or it's the post-constitutional society of bureaucrats, and here we all sit just saying that we still live under the Constitution.
Well, what do you think is going to happen at the big convention there in Meridian?
Well, Dorothy is the right person, has the right ideals. The problem is she's no good at politics. She couldn't, at some point, we the constitutionalists have to get money from the rhinos. We have to convince them that their money is good in our hands. Victor Miller was pretty decent at figuring out how to get some money down to people like me. When I was running for state senate, whatever it was, 4 years ago, that's been a while now, 6, I don't know. Anyways, but she can't get the rhinos to give up any pennies. They're dead set against her. And, they're making their own second party, basically, with their PACs and what have you. And is the Republican Party relevant? That's a good question. If you can't do anything with Boise or against Boise, and it goes wrapping the flagpoles in those colors. It's the same thing as I've said before. That is a religion. They exhibit all the signs of a religion. And so we have religious symbols all over Boise now, and it's sponsored by the government, and that's the way it needs to be put into legal terms, basically. Your religious symbols will not be displayed on public property, and all the rainbows are part of it.
But back to some of the multiple criticism is when you had, and again, with Tom and Victor running things, candidates got money. When they weren't running things, candidates didn't get money.
Victor running things in Ada County, yeah. I don't know that Tom had anything.
And you had people that decided that Victor and David Lister weren't conservative enough and got rid of him, made a lot of allegations that have never, in my opinion, been substantiated. And there you have it. So, go ahead.
That's the inner politics fight. That's the same thing they did with Ryan Davidson. This is, we want to throw all these punches at each other, and then it comes back to one side has money, the other side doesn't. If the side that doesn't can't figure out how to get money from the side that does, then we just sit here and fight, and along comes the pro-abortion initiatives, and somehow, is it the Republican Party's duty to stop that petition? Possibly, but we've also got a bunch of PACs. What are they doing? Where are we at? Come on, people, quit looking at each other and turn and look towards evil, like Concern said. Evil's coming. Everything that happened in Sodom and Gomorrah is modern-day Boise, as far as I'm concerned. And we just sit here and don't go to a city council meeting. Don't tell them, stop spending our money. $16,000, Lynn says, on wrapping polls. I mean, right there, we're under indictment from God for that. So let's just, I don't know. Dorothy Moon is not a uniter. We have to get money out of the rhinos and convert them. We have to convert rhinos to become conservatives. That's the only hope we have. Some of them have half conservative ideas. That needs to be the campaign. Turning rhinos into constitutionalists should be the mission, And playing Switzerland is a good idea. They're not beyond hope. They're not Democrats. They're mostly Democrats. So there's something they can, it's like with seeing the good in Darth Vader. You can, in the end, he gets converted. Let's work on getting them brought back to the fold of an actual party platform beliefs and freedom, instead of having our sheriff that protests and that give testimony against A, the First Amendment, Canyon County Sheriff, and B, support immigration, both sheriffs, illegal immigration, And furthermore, let's annex Mexico. It's a failed socialist state.
All right, Lee Joe, thank you for the call. 580-KIDO, Fox News Now, 580-KIDO, out and about. Going to be a busy, busy weekend. Hope to see so many of you at the Walmarts. We're going to be in Boise tomorrow, 11 to 1. West Overland Road, we'll be there 11 to 1, giving away tickets to the Boise Music Festival. Saturday, we'll be in Meridian, 3 to 5. That's right. Double sessions for the Walmarts. We'll be there 3 to 5 at the Walmart next to Roaring Springs. Sunday, that's right after church, 11 to 1. We will be at the 10 Mile Walmart. I usually go there on Sundays anyway, hanging out. Hopefully I'll see my friend Jared. I know he used to work at Fred Meyer, and then he left to go to work at Walmart. And maybe we'll see you. We'll give you tickets to the Boise Music Festival, 11 to 1. And then finally, in Fairview, the original home of Miller's Mission, 3 to 5, Fairview Avenue, we look forward to giving away tickets to the Boise Music Festival. We are rolling as we get ready to, really pretty much commemorate another year together. And don't forget, won't be long before the balloons will be flying over Boise. Before that, we go to a man who loves balloons. His name is TPB. Right now at 580-KIDO. Hello, TPB.
I tell you, I love the balloons, but I hate the hot air our politicians keep blowing around. Thank you for having Lynn Bredescu, is that her name, on? Because she's so
the Barracuda.
Right. Yeah, she's so right about the apathy when it comes to voting. And it is a conundrum that needs to change before the midterms, when we traditionally have less of a turnout than we do at the presidential elections. She did bring out the fact that the division in the Republican Party here in Idaho is something that will not be solved anytime soon and will continue to plague Republicans with lower than acceptable turnout. And while I doubt that we have a problem with illegals voting in Idaho, what we do have is a large number of Idahoans who are sick and tired of voting for candidates who work for the lobbyists and not for the people who elect them. The reason for that is they have for the past 20 years. We have watched our legislators and governors listen to 700 lobbyists and political PACs who influence them, and they can no longer care about what the people want. They only care about what they want. Just remember how Governor Otter vetoed repeal of the grocery tax and how Little lied to us about eliminating the egregious tax if he were elected. So can we trust our politicians? I would say no. Or how about the jobs stolen by illegals because we have a senator who held up 3 immigration bills in his desk drawer so they could not be voted on? And his primary election was backed by 5 of our constitutional officers, including Governor Little and Lieutenant Governor Bedke. That has to tell you something about what kind of government we have. Our state government has been lying to us for decades and have doubled our state budget in the past 7 years. Do you really think that these people are working for the people or for the corporations to keep getting reelected? I will tell you, there are a very small number of legislators who care about the people that voted for them, and only one constitutional officer named Raul Labrador, our Attorney General, who actually works for the people. You know, Idahoans have been disenfranchised when it comes to choosing the people who represent them by the gobs of money spent by political PACs controlled by the likes of IACI and Big Ag and the medical establishment. Idaho does not have a government of the people, by the people, or for the people. We have a government of the lobbyists, by the lobbyists, who work for the big money corporations and Big Ag operators. You want to know why your taxes are so high and there is no real accountability for how your money is spent? The answer is simple. Idahoans don't hold their politicians' feet to the fire. There's an old quote which says, politicians are like diapers. They need to be changed regularly. You know, we hear all this talk about how we must pass the SAVE Act to keep illegals from voting. But in actuality, we need to educate ourselves as voters to make sure that we are not voting for the pretty glossy flyer that we get in the mail with nothing but lies about politicians who work for the lobbyists. We need to look at our legislators' voting records so we can stop the continued waste of our tax money on 189 state agencies.
Did we lose him? Apparently we lost him. Hope he's okay. That was a lot. That was a lot. We'll get your reaction to Tea Party Bob. Kevin Miller, 580 KIDO. Eagle with Kevin Miller at 580 KIDO. Hello, Mark.
Hey, first call this week to you, Kevin. I tried calling yesterday, but I kept getting disconnected because I guess you were taking callers for those tickets. So wasn't interested in the tickets, but didn't want to talk with you there at KIDO. But, you know, I'm listening during the week here, and, you know, Ledro brought up about, like, Boise State universities. If you look this up, folks, just simply do a web search. How many major cities across this country have left-leaning universities? Just about everyone, they are rampant. So every city, including Boise, Idaho, has a left-leaning ideology for their universities and college campuses. Now, why is that? Tell me that. How is that working out here if we don't have rhinos that put people like Marlena Trump in office? Then you had Costa. Who was involved with placing Costa, Bob Costra, over there at BSU before Marlena Trump left? Was it Otter?
That was the state board.
It is, yeah. And who appoints the people for the state board? The governor, right?
Yes.
He's involved, the governor. Okay, because I remember hearing this before here at KIDO, that those appointed to the board, a lot of them it's the governor that has control of that, from what I understood. And my point is being this. Why is it in the reddest of the red states, quoting Butch Otter, that we seem to be able to have right here in our own backyard here in Boise the capital of Idaho and the capital, where the Capitol building is downtown, a bunch of left-wing nutcases, nut jobs that are controlling things. Why is it seems like the rhinos seem to go along pretty, there's no, yeah, sure, they can fight with our Attorney General, who I really like, Raul Labrador, and fight against the flag down there. But just the politics of Boise itself, and then if we're supposedly a Republican-controlled state, has such left-leaning nut jobs controlling the biggest city in Idaho, it makes you wonder, makes you scratch your head. How much behind the scenes, when you see Governor Little giving money or tons of money, hundreds of millions of dollars away to the school systems here, and yet it doesn't produce anything better year after year after year, it makes you wonder. Now, obviously, Governor Little's been called a rhino, and you can kind of see why. There is some connection here between the university and the mayor of Boise and the city council and their leftist radicalism and the rhinos that are controlling things here in the state and our legislature. So they seem to, behind the scenes, be very interesting bedfellows. I want to get to one other interesting topic. I heard that Liberal Steve shooting off his mouth yesterday. Liberal Steve, this is for you. I sent this to you, Kevin. This is on Gateway Pundit. The Democratic Socialists of America, known as the DSA, is creating their own Red Guard, a militia network called the Red Rabbits. Well, guess what? Now, didn't good old Liberal Steve, you old red diaper doper baby down there in Tucson, you said you were from Tucson when Kevin asked you and mentioned Phoenix, and you said, no, you're in Tucson. A recent panel offered an unprecedented window into what the project looks like. Organizers from Minnesota, Oklahoma City, Philadelphia, Tucson, Arizona, Austin, Texas, and Portland, all liberal left-leaning cities, and compared notes. So this is kind of going on the side. What they are is a bunch of nutcases like the Antifa people. I'm just curious. Liberal Steve, are you down there? Are you helping you old red diaper doper baby? Are you just working in one of their offices cleaning their toilets for them once in a while? But I'd really like to know if he went down there just so he could be with the Democrat or the socialist of America, the Democratic Socialists of America, DSA, and creating their own Red Guard. He's down there helping them out. So maybe you could answer that question there, Libtard Steve. So you have a good day there at KIDO, Kevin.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Mark. We continue on. Tea Party Bob wanted to finish his statement. That was quite a long diatribe.
Are we back on?
No, you're not on the air at all. Why would you be talking to me? Why would you say that?
I will say thank you, Mark from Eagle, because he's absolutely right. 100% on target. I just wanted to finish up. We spend so much of our tax money on these 189 state agencies. We spend $400 million a year on illegals, education, and medical care. We haven't investigated where $100 million of our tax dollars disappeared for the health data exchange. It's time to help ourselves, the people who pay the taxes. And how about let's just eliminate the egregious grocery tax? We can't even get that done. I went to the polls at the primary, and I looked at the ballot, and I will tell you a number of times, you know what I wrote on it? None of the above, because none of them were worthy of casting a vote for. That's how I feel about it nowadays. And more people are getting that way, I do believe. We can't control our own state anymore. The lobbyists own it and control it. So, Kevin, thank you very much for my time. I hope you have a pleasant time running around this next week doing all the things that you do for the good of this state and our Treasure Valley.
Thank you, Tea Party Bob. Kevin Miller, 580 KIDO. We go to Liberal Steve, who joins us now. Good morning.
Mark, does this mean that our love affair is over? Marky conspiracy, Marky and Eagles, does that mean the late night phone calls aren't going to happen anymore? Expressing your love for me? And Bobby, you scared me. You went off the air like that so fast. I thought, oh no, did Bobby have a late one? Oh, geez. When I called about Mr. Miller, the hybrid of the year, I was voted hybrid of the year at our meeting over there in Sedona. I wanted to let your listeners know that keep your ears to the ground and your eyes to the sky, because this is the weekend that my relatives are going to show up in the mothership and abduct about, I think they said close to 1,000 people right out in the open where everybody can see. And yes, they said they're going to continue to mutilate the cattle. You've read all about the cattle mutilations, right? They said they're going to continue that, and the crop circles. So I wanted everybody to keep their eyes open, because your orange man, he just doesn't seem to know what he's doing over there. And geez, I ran across the street. I had 38 deals. I had 40 deals, and now this deal ain't even going to deal. We're off to Sweden. No, we're not. Marky, I love you. Stay fired up, Kevin. Oh, and Patriot Ray, you're an idiot. Bye, Kev.
Wow, that was a lot. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Of course, Liberal Steve says that every day, that the aliens are coming back, and I haven't seen any aliens. We have seen a lot of people fired up about this weekend. By the way, if you're planning on watching the World Cup today, this is coming to a website nearest you, breaking down the cost of concessions in Seattle. You're going to love this one. The cost of food in Seattle for the World Cup. So a stale soft pretzel, $13.49. Kettle corn, $13.49. Ice cream dots, $11.99. Cotton candy, what would you pay for cotton candy? $3, $4? What is cotton candy? $11.99. A churro, $10.99. A 1 liter container of water, $10.49. How about some nuts, considering we just had one on, $8.99. Now, if you just want a regular water, that's $5.99. 16-ounce craft beer, $18.99. A 16-ounce American beer, $17.99. Those are, I think those are like Super Bowl prices. Now, again, from one of these articles, notably, each of the 16 host stadiums has full control over concession prices, as FIFA doesn't influence concession offerings. So if you went to Atlanta and you bought a beer, it cost you $8. Craft beer, $10. Roughly $10 to $9 cheaper than what you get in Seattle. Each stadium's food prices also vary and may include items not available elsewhere. Other cities are offering such items as $17 chicken tenders, fries in Boston, or a $5 bag of chips in Kansas City, according to Bro Bible. What's up, bro? So apparently, I don't know what the prices are in Los Angeles, but Seattle seems to be taking the case, if you will. Now, the host cities, Boston, Atlanta, Dallas, Houston, Kansas City, Los Angeles, Miami, New Jersey, Philly, San Francisco, Seattle, Guadalajara, Mexico City, Monterey, Toronto, and Vancouver. So, like I said, they compare everything. Seattle seems to lead the way. Pretty raw when you're thinking about this. If you want a Golden Goat margarita in Kansas City, almost $30. Casamigos Blanco Tequila, $28. That's at FanFest, I suppose. But you're a beer drinker, Michelob Ultra, only $19. I guess it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. By the way, people are reacting to Liberal Steve's call. We have, Rocky, Liberal Steve equals wackadoodle. And we have Tea Party Bob. He was voted the donkey of the year, the hybrid Jack donkey of the year, but he uses anything else. Liberal Steve says, that felt really good. Thanks, sweetie. So I don't know if Liberal Steve has come out of the closet. I don't know if he's back to being on the mothership. But we, as long as people are entertaining, or in his case, attempting to be entertaining, we welcome them. And we do. And by the way, we welcome you to check out our website. We'll let you know. You'll see where I'm at this weekend. And it's not about me. You're just going to see some guy looking for a kickball tournament. But we are going to have tickets to the Boise Music Festival. It won't be long before the stage is up. You could say the Super Bowl of free concerts across the country. I haven't done a Google Schmoogle or AI search, but I would put that music festival, when we're talking about the cost of it, up against anything. So we do want to thank everyone who has allowed us to do this. Much more on the war. So Israel and Lebanon were fighting, or Hezbollah, not to be confused with Hamas. They were fighting, boom, 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 boom. And now there's a ceasefire. Will it stick? That's why you need to keep it here on your home for Fox News 580 KIDO.
Where the Democrat Party is today. CNN had a poll out that showed that only 26% of the Democrat Party is proud of America today. And I'm going, what? I wake up every single day and think I am the luckiest man in the world to be born in this country.
Department of Homeland Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen. That's what we need to do. We need to focus in on why they don't love America. It's a very simple question when you see the libs. Do you love America? I love America. You love America. Wouldn't you like to love America too? How in the world can you be an elected official or someone involved in politics and not love America? Speaking of America, no, I'm not selling out, but go Team USA today at 1 against Australia. Good day. God bless. Keep the faith. And yes, Kay Millie loves you.
Today on the pod, we're talking to Joan, a method actor and scratchers enthusiast. So, Joan, what do you like about playing scratchers?
Well, as a method actor, it's about becoming the ticket. Scratching up, down, stage left, stage right.
So what's your motivation? Because your performance feels so real.
Oh, I was just tapping into my inner scratchers.
Incredible.
Yes. Bravo me.
Scratchers from the California Lottery. A little play can make your day. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 years or older to purchase, play, or claim.